Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the MHA What If with another fanfiction. This is the first part of What If Deku Helped Katsuki Heal Through One for All? All credits for this video go to their respective authors, so please support the real author. Check out the link in the description for more details. Please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. In the streets of Japan, Himiko Toga was lost. She didn't know where to turn to. She was alone, and yet so many people were going about their day as if nothing was going on. Nonetheless, she kept going and hid wherever she could. She didn't want anyone recognizing her as she kept walking across the streets. Toga had some leftover blood from Uraraka, but rarely used it. She needed to save it just in case. Just case what? She had no reason to return to UA or Uraraka. Even to Midoriya. She helped him out a while ago, but that was the last time she saw him. She never got the chance to say much to him, but she knew that things were different now. Toga kept telling herself that she couldn't go back. She wanted to, but something told her not to. Toga knew that Midoriya and Uraraka were now together. They were together and didn't need her anymore. She slumped her shoulders, knowing that she was right. They were on their own, doing things without her. She couldn't help but want to be with them at the time. Things did feel different though when she looked at Uraraka's blood. It felt different and gave her chills when she looked at it. Something about her blood seemed stronger somehow. Like her quirk was different. Toga didn't like it, but something about it did feel good. She was tempted to drink some and go see her, but she stopped herself. She wanted to walk away from this, but had a hard time doing so. It was her quirk. Something about her quirk always did this to her. Toga felt the need to go see anyone she loved. Anyone she cared about. Toga needed to see Uraraka, but she knew that things weren't what they used to be. She hid in the alleyway, almost ready to drink it. Then something caught her attention. She smelled something even better than Uraraka's blood. Her eyes couldn't look away as she drifted over to UA students. They were walking away from somewhere. Toga was confused, realizing that they might as well have appeared out of nowhere. Almost like magic. Toga smelled something so amazing and sweet that she couldn't look away. She felt her cheeks blushing from smelling something so amazing. Toga then noticed Uraraka and Midoriya walking side to side. Just seeing them together felt like she betraying her word. She even noticed someone that kind of looked like Midoriya, which confused her. However, she smelled something so sweet that some people might tell her that it was caramel. Her mouth was full of saliva as she swallowed it. She was drawn to it, unable to control herself. Toga then realized that she had to find out what that smell was. Whether it was Uraraka, Midoriya, or not, she needed to at least know if they were involved. It smelled like it was around them, but exactly their blood. Toga quickly hid and hesitated to drink Uraraka's blood. She was right there, and Toga knew that she might get caught. Toga peeked at them, knowing that they were going to UA. After a good while of them walking away, Toga felt stupid for wanting to follow. That smell, however, made it almost impossible to walk away from them. She wasn't even sure that she wanted to go there because of them. Something about the scent was stronger and somehow overpowering their scent. Toga knew that she had to see what was going on with them. Before she knew it, and she transformed into Uraraka. But her face was the only one that changed. Toga only drank a tiny bit and soon walked towards UA. They were far away now from the streets as she made her way towards them. What she didn't realize was that they were just coming back from a magical and unexpected journey. She had no idea that they just came back from another world full of magic and creatures that she would have imagined. Toga felt the need to keep her distance, smelling that amazing scent. It was strong since they were outside and not inside of a bus. She felt herself wanting to walk away from this, but the smell was so inviting that she couldn't turn around. Once she got close enough, she noticed them looking a bit tired. Something must have happened with Uraraka and the others. She kept running, knowing full well that UA was in the distance. She had to keep going as the smell got stronger. Even with it further away, she could still smell it. The caramel, sweet goodness smell was so overwhelming that she couldn't ignore it. Toga wanted to know more about this and who it was. Her quirk needed to know. Toga smiled as she ran closer to UA. She was far away from it, but she didn't care. She had to keep going. Sorry, Achiko. Izuku. I've got know what that amazing smell is. Toga said under her breath. Toga went about stealthily, knowing full well that she might get into trouble. The teachers of UA might catch her. But she didn't care. She kept running without any sort of hesitation. Toga felt her legs picking up pace, trying to make her way towards UA. She needed to know what was going on. After so long of avoiding Class 2A, she was finally going back. Her blush got even redder as she tried to get a grip. She couldn't help smile, knowing that she needed to go to UA. Something about it felt like the best thing she had ever done. Toga felt the need to taste that amazing smell. She smiled from ear to ear, happy to finally be back. In Bakugo's dorm room. It had been several hours since they came home from Meiho no Kuni. Bakugo was finally going back to hero school. Class 2A were starting to settle down as things went back to normal. No one knew what was going on with Bakugo, however, as he slept in the middle of night. He was alone in his dorm room, feeling heat coming over him. He was sweating profusely, feeling a bit overwhelmed from it. He never felt this way before, even with a fever. There was an energy around him that felt familiar as he sweat in his bed. He could feel the energy getting to him as if his quirk were a sponge. It was absorbing into him slowly, making him feel a bit hotter and sweatier. It was too much for him to take as it kept going. He tried to stop it from he wasn't in control of it. Then he realized that it was one for all. As soon as he recognized it, Bakugo felt like he was being pulled into something. A place that wasn't around here. Bakugo could see lights and a lot of colors surrounding him. But one did stand out to him. An orange sparkling energy was drawn to him as if it knew him. Bakugo felt it getting stronger as it circled around him. He felt like it was absorbing into him as he stood there. He couldn't stop it, feeling the need to control it. Then he noticed someone forming from that energy. It went a weird orange glow to forming into a man. His eyes were recognizable the moment Bakugo saw him. He tried to ignore him earlier in his dorm room. Now it was just annoying to no end. Kudo. Bakugo said under his breath, "What the hell are you doing here?" Bakugo soon realized that he was somewhere in the vestige world, which confused him. He didn't understand how this was even possible. But something about didn't seem like it. It looked different as the orange glow separated from the rest of the energy. It was in the distance as if it had somewhere else to be. He knew right away that it was going to Midoriya. He looked at Kudo as he stood there just staring at him. That annoyed him to pieces, not knowing anything about this guy. Then he thought about something that he totally forgot about until now. "Aren't you gonna say anything? We are related after all. Aren't we?" Bakugo said to him. Kudo didn't say anything as he stared him down. Something about his eyes reminded him of himself, which was weird to admit. His eyes just seemed to be looking at the energy around him. Bakugo looked down, confused as to why this was happening to him. One for All was evolving, but he didn't understand as to why he was involved. Especially when Midoriya's quirk was doing fine without him. Kudo clearly had something to say to him. "Izuku, Midoriya is the only one that can help you." "I'm sorry," Kudo said to him. Bakugo's eyes widened in shock, knowing that he was right. Before he could say anything, he felt the energy absorbing into him. That made him sweat a lot more, which almost made him fall to his knees. He looked up with gritted teeth, hoping to get some answers from Kudo. "Kudo, what the hell is going on?" Bakugo asked him. "You and I both know that we're related. So just tell me already. Is it true?" Bakugo felt the energy being absorbed, but it was slowing down. He still felt the sweat around him making him feel overwhelmed that he might let off an explosion. He had never had sweat beating down him like this before. It was all over him and wouldn't stop. Bakugo needed answers, but something caught his attention. Kudo was about to answer, but something disrupted this connection. Kudo disappeared as the energy swirled around him. One for All left him behind, but some of its energy still remained. His eyes widened, feeling a weird, familiar heat around him. It was hot and he kept sweating from it. It felt like it was coming after him. Like it wanted to hurt him for some reason. Bakugo felt like it was coming from someone. He noticed flames surrounding him. They were golden, which caught his attention. "Himawari?" Bakugo said under his breath. He knew that it was her. Her flames looking just like that in Meiho no Kuni. But something her intentions were giving him chills. He then felt like someone was behind him as he turned around to see Himawari flying in the air. She was flying on a broom as she pointed a wand at him. She looked like a witch. Bakugo's eyes widened, unable to move away from her. He felt terrible for hurting her. But he felt the need to explain himself. Himawari, I never meant to hurt you. Bakugo cried out. I would never intentionally hurt you like that. You've got to believe me. Himawari's eyes never wavered as she pointed her wand at him. Something about her made him freeze up as she stared daggers at Bakugo. He was sweating so much that he felt like he couldn't breathe from this heat. He felt like he was overheating from her fire. Hima. Bakugo said through the heat, don't do this. The look in Himawari's eyes looked like she wanted to hurt him. Bakugo couldn't look away from her as Himawari stared down at him. Katsuki. You did this. Himawari said to him, you broke my heart. It's your fault. Bakugo felt that as Himawari shot out a spell that he wasn't expecting. He felt like he was being pulled into something. He couldn't stop it, but the heat all around him so blowing in his face. He felt so sweaty and hot that he couldn't breathe. Bakugo tried to fight it, but Himawari's magic was strong. He felt like he was being sucked into her wand or something that he couldn't see. Bakugo gritted his teeth, frustrated that he couldn't fight through this. But before he knew it, he felt himself being lifted into the air by this suction. Bakugo was suddenly being pulled away from One for All and everyone else. He felt like he had left everyone behind and was alone for a moment. It felt like Himawari cursed him for a moment. But then he landed onto the ground with a thud. Bakugo felt that as he got up to look around. He felt like he was in the middle of nowhere as he looked around. There was a weird fog around him, but couldn't find anything else. Something about it gave him the creeps as if he were away from One for All for a moment. Something about this place felt stagnant and very still. Bakugo felt something coming for him, which didn't help him relax. He felt like something was watching him. He noticed that the vestige world was distancing himself from him for a moment. Bakugo didn't know what to make of it. Then he saw something move fast in the corner of his eye. He didn't know what or who it was, but was ready to fight them off. But something was stumping him from fighting them. He felt himself freeze up, which was odd even for him. His sweat was getting to him as he felt someone surround him. He thought he heard a laugh. Something about it gave him chills. Bakugo tried to look for them, but they were toying with him. He tried to find them, but they kept running off. Show yourself, you demon coward. Bakugo cried out, where the hell are you? Before he knew it, someone knocked him over. He was covered in sweat as his eyes widened in shock. Someone was on top of him, ready to pounce. When he looked up, he froze in place as chills made his way down his body. Her face was recognizable as she stared at him with a wide smile. It was Toga. Her eyes were targeting him and wouldn't look away from him. Oh Katsuki, you smell so good. Like caramel. Toga said to him as she smelled him. Bakugo stiffened up, feeling confused and shocked at the same time. He couldn't wrap his mind around the fact that Toga was after him. He always thought that Midoriya and Uraraka were her targets, not him. It gave him chills when her breath tickled his neck as she bent down to smell him. He stiffened up, feeling himself freeze up. Your blood and sweat. It smells so much better than Izuku's and Achiko's. Toga said to him. She then leaned into his ear, whispering into it and causing him to tense up. You're mine now. Katsuki. Before he could react, she launched at him and bit his neck. Bakugo suddenly opened his eyes wide, realizing that it was just a dream. He felt like he needed to catch his breath as he laid there. He couldn't even move as if Toga was still there with him. He didn't understand why he would have a dream of her of all people. It didn't make any sense to him. Bakugo hadn't even seen her since the Kage villain's incident. He knew that she wasn't coming back ever again, but something about the dream felt real. Bakugo automatically felt his neck as if she bit him. He didn't feel anything like a bite, which confirmed for him that it was just a dream. He relaxed a bit, but noticed that he was sweating a lot. He felt his forehead, knowing that he had a fever. He hated to admit this, but he needed Midoriya. In Class 2A's dormitory, Midoriya woke up, feeling pretty refreshed. After Meiho no Kuni, he felt like things were going pretty well. All things considered, he definitely didn't expect to feel so energized. He didn't remember having a dream last night about One for All. He wished that he could somehow reach out to them, especially everything that happened with Himawari and his quirk. Going to Meiho no Kuni was a tough journey, but he still felt the need to check on One for All. Midoriya knew that he needed to start meditating to see if it would work. He was worried that Bakugo's fever might come back any day now, however, based on last night. Midoriya looked around as he finally got dressed. He didn't seem to notice anything different from his quirk. It was acting like it did when it evolved sometime after the sports festival. He felt like what happened in Meiho no Kuni was starting to calm down even if it was only a day. He worried about Bakugo after that weird interaction with him last night. He wanted to feel more relieved about Uraraka and Himawari being back. But he did wonder how things were going with him. He was quiet for a while there, but now he started to notice something weird going on. His quirk felt like it was reacting to something. Almost as if his fever was finally coming back. Midoriya hoped that this wasn't the case. Once he was done getting dressed and fixing his hair, he soon grabbed his backpack and some school supplies. Midoriya then noticed his phone going off as he got ready. He grabbed it, thinking that it was Uraraka or Himawari. He knew that Himawari had gone back to her dormitory sometime around dinner time yesterday. She had to at least make sure they knew that things were okay. Luckily, Mr. Aizawa told her teacher that she was okay. When he looked at his phone, his eyes widened to see Bakugo text him. "Kaken," Midoriya said out loud. He opened the text, confused as to why he texted him. "Kaken, we need to talk. Don't ask questions." Midoriya was so confused as to why he would text him before school even started. He tried to help him back then during the sports festival and worried that his fever was back. He wanted to text him, but didn't know what to say. Midoriya soon put his phone away, not knowing how to respond. Once he exited his dorm room, he noticed a weird energy coming from somewhere. He didn't know what, but it felt familiar. He thought that his quirk was acting out for a while there. But he could feel it trying to reach out to something or someone. He was just glad that his quirk was back to normal. But he started to wonder if that meant that Bakugo's fever was coming back as well. Midoriya shook it off and soon entered the elevator. He felt something going on as he got closer to the common room. Midoriya didn't know why he felt a weird energy. But he knew that it was because of One for All. He worried about Bakugo as he waited for the elevator to open. Once it opened, he entered the common room to see almost everyone up. He soon noticed that Bakugo was nowhere to be seen. He was confused and walked over to Uraraka and Ida. "Good morning, Achiko, Ida," Midoriya said to him. "Where's Kaken? Isn't he up by now?" Uraraka and Ida looked at him as if they weren't expecting him to be looking for Bakugo so early in the morning. "You actually just missed him," Ida told him. "Bakugo said that he needed some air," Uraraka said to him. "Why? Did he say something to you?" Midoriya was worried about Bakugo, confused as to why he wanted to talk to him. He thought that maybe he was waiting for him outside. He knew that he would follow him either way. He was hoping that it had something to do with Kudo. Maybe he talked to his parents about it finally. Then again, they literally just got home from Meiho no Kuni. He didn't know how he was going to explain this to his mom now that she was an assistant nurse in UA. She was already settled down in a new apartment and a dorm room here. He couldn't wait to see the apartment, but he first needed to help his friend. "He actually texted me," Midoriya told them. "He said that he wanted to talk." Uraraka, Ida and his classmates were shocked to hear this. "He texted you?" Yayorozu pointed out. "But he never texts you," Kaminari said to him. "He must be sick or something." Midoriya's eyes widened in shock. Kaminari realized that he said the wrong thing at the wrong time. Jairu almost jabbed him in the ear for it. "Sorry about him," Jairu said back. "I'm sure Bakugo is fine. Whether or not his fever is back depends why he texted you." Midoriya knew that it was important, so he decided to grab some tea to go and a couple of granola bars. He needed to see him and was happy that Bakugo wanted to at least talk. He never did this before, and Midoriya hoped that it was nothing to worry about. His classmates wished him good luck, and he soon left. Midoriya soon realized that Bakugo was nowhere near the dormitory. He must have been waiting for him closer to Yua. He kept going as he ate one of the granola bars. He kept going worried about him. Bakugo never does this unless it was for a good reason. It felt like the license exam all over again. He had to tell him something important. Midoriya just wanted to know if his fever was back or not. Midoriya then noticed Bakugo in the distance. He was standing right by one of the cherry blossom trees, waiting for him. He felt weird seeing him just waiting there. As he got closer, he noticed that he looked paler than usual. He worried about him, knowing that he must have been feeling awful. Midoriya picked up the pace as he held his tea. He kind of wished that he grabbed him to make him feel better. Once he caught up to him, Bakugo barely looked up at him. "Kaken," Midoriya said to him, trying to catch his breath, "You're here." Bakugo didn't respond as Midoriya stood there awkwardly. He didn't even take a sip of his tea, knowing that Bakugo wanted to say something. "But why did you text me?" Midoriya asked him. Is something wrong?" Bakugo looked up, and Midoriya noticed his eyes looked a bit off. They didn't look like his usual hardened, red eyes. They looked a bit tired and droopy, like he couldn't sleep. He could have sworn that they were bloodshot, which caught his attention. Midoriya could tell that something was wrong. Did you have a dream about One for All?" Bakugo asked him. Midoriya's eyes widened in shock, knowing that something happened. He just didn't understand why Bakugo would ask this. Then again, he might be worried about its connection. He thought about it for a moment, realizing that he didn't remember anything about it. "Not that I recall," Midoriya told him. Bakugo looked a bit off, and Midoriya felt like he needed to give him something to drink or eat. "Here, Kaken. You look like you need something to drink," Midoriya said to him as he gave him a cup of tea. Bakugo looked at it, but shook it off like it was nothing. "Kudo reached out to me," Bakugo said to him out nowhere. Midoriya's heart rate dropped, hearing him say this out loud. He didn't expect Kudo to even be reaching out to him like this. Something must have happened to One for All or just Bakugo's quirk. Midoriya looked at Bakugo and finally realized where the weird energy was coming from. It was Bakugo. His hands were shaking, knowing that his fever was coming back. Once he looked at Bakugo, he looked a bit sweaty. He couldn't look away as Bakugo tried to focus on Midoriya. "Kaken, you need to go to the nurse's office," Midoriya told him. "Your fever is coming back. We can do that later. You need to figure out what the hell is going on with One for All," Bakugo said back as he got hotter. Midoriya was surprised to see him sweating so much again. He didn't expect him to look so off from his fever coming back. Bakugo swayed a little, which caught his attention. "What are you talking about?" Midoriya asked him. "Did Kudo say something to you?" He said that you were the only one that could help. Bakugo said back through his tired eyes, "I need your DMN help." Midoriya's eyes widened in shock, wondering if he was disoriented from his fever. Bakugo swayed as he tried to walk over to him. Midoriya noticed his classmates finally coming up from behind as Bakugo came over to him. Midoriya was worried about Bakugo and didn't know what to do. One for All is doing something to my DMN quirk, Bakugo said to him through gritted teeth. Midoriya didn't like the sound of this as Bakugo tripped over his own 2 feet. Midoriya dropped his tea as his classmates went to check on him. "Bakugo!" They all cried out in unison. Kirishima ran over to him, worried about his partner. "Katsuki!" Kirishima cried out. Midoriya tried to hold him up, but his sweat was getting all over him. Bakugo was still awake, but he could barely stand up. Midoriya tried to help him up, but Bakugo looked like he still needed to say something. Midoriya worried about him, but his friends were here to help him. "Why you need to help me out of this DMN mess?" Bakugo said to him. "One for All is doing this." Midoriya didn't like that One for All was doing this to his quirk. He tried not to get upset so he could help him out. Yaoyorozu and Todoroki ran over to him as they tried to cool him down. Todoroki tried to make ice for Bakugo to hold onto for a little while. He felt the relief coming off of him as he placed the ice onto his forehead. "I never thought I'd be grateful for icy hot ice," Bakugo said back. Todoroki was surprised by his attitude as Midoriya tried to keep him upright. He could barely stand as Midoriya tried to help him. "Kaken, what do I do?" Midoriya asked him. "Did Kudo tell you anything important?" Bakugo was looking exhausted and really off through his eyes as they tried to help him. Midoriya tried to carry him, but Yaoyorozu quickly made a few towels to wrap around him like last time. Shuji got ready as Siro tried to tape them to Bakugo. Bakugo didn't seem to carry their way as they got him ready to go to the nurse's office. Bakugo looked at Midoriya with eyes that seemed delirious. "Oh, and for all. Too strong," Bakugo said through his sweat. He can't. Help me. Himawari's hurt. Because of me. It's my fault. As someone's after. They're watching me." Midoriya's eyes widened in shock, feeling for him in that moment. He was glad that Himawari wasn't around for that. But they were still so confused by this. Bakugo looked so out of it that he might have been talking in his sleep. Whoever was watching him could have just been Kudo. Midoriya soon realized that he might have been just really tired. Something about it though gave Midoriya chills as his classmates helped him. "Kaken, just hang in there," Midoriya told him. "We're gonna bring you to the nurse's office. We'll figure this out together. Just like you said." Bakugo seemed okay with this as Shuji carried him. He didn't fight them off as they carried him to Recovery Girl and Ms. Midoriya. He hoped that he could explain things to his mom better this time around. Midoriya followed them, staring at Bakugo. He could barely stay awake as they took their time. They didn't want to shake Bakugo up too much from the heat of his quirk. Midoriya couldn't leave him behind now. Class 2A looked at Midoriya, wondering what was going on. "His fever is coming back," Yaoyorozu said to them. Did One for All really do this?" Midoriya knew that it did as he noticed One for all around him. It was reaching out to Bakugo and everyone else. But something about Bakugo seemed to be drawing in a lot more energy than anyone else. Midoriya didn't understand why this was happening to him. Bakugo's quirk was absorbing One for All a lot more than last time. It was slow, but it was there. It's being absorbed. Midoriya explained to them, "Kaken's quirk is getting stronger." Class 2A were all shocked to see Midoriya looking so distraught, knowing that this wasn't a good thing. They didn't see it, but Midoriya wondered if they could feel it. They had to get to Recovery Girl and fast. Bakugo was almost knocked out cold as they finally got to the nurse's office. Once they knocked onto the door, Recovery Girl opened it. Midoriya felt the need to check on his mom and wondered if she was there. She quickly Bakugo with Shuji and everyone else, knowing exactly what was going on. "Ms. Midoriya, we're gonna need a clean bed," Recovery Girl said to her, making Midoriya flinch. "All right, Recovery Girl. Who's here?" Before Midoriya knew it, his mom spotted them carrying Bakugo into the nurse's office. Her eyes widened in shock, not expecting this outcome. She looked at Midoriya, but then noticed Bakugo looking sweaty. "Izuku, what happened to Katsuki?" Ms. Midoriya cried out. "Should I call Mitsuki? She should know that he's in the nurse's office." Midoriya didn't know what to think as they brought him into the room. Ms. Midoriya was flabbergasted, not expecting this to happen this morning. "Let's see what Recovery Girl can do first. Then go from there," Midoriya said to her. "Kaken is kind of sweating a lot. We don't want to worry Auntie Mitsuki just yet." Ms. Midoriya soon nodded in agreement, knowing what Ms. Bakugo was like. "When did this happen?" Recovery Girl asked with no hesitation. "This morning," Midoriya told her. "Please help him." Recovery Girl noticed Shuji putting him down as Yaoyorozu and Todoroki tried to get him onto the nurse's bed. Bakugo was still conscious, but was clearly out of it. He was sweating a lot more, and Midoriya knew that it was because he was close to him. He stepped away from him as Todoroki tried to cool him down. Midoriya wanted to be there for him, but worried that he was making things worse. He wanted to help, but he couldn't risk it. Todoroki made it snow around Bakugo as Yaoyorozu dabbed his arms with face cloths. She even made a trash bin like last time. Recovery Girl felt his forehead once it was sweat-free, and her eyes widened. "Yep. He's got a fever all right," Recovery Girl said to them. "It might be even worse than last time." "Last time?" Ms. Midoriya pointed out. When did he have a fever? Unless you're talking about the sports festival. Midoriya felt that, surprised that she even remembered that. She wasn't really there to see him like this. But clearly she knew that something was up with him. He even remembered how awful he felt when he kept secrets from her. Midoriya bit his lip, feeling it coming back all at once. He looked at All Might and his friends, realizing that she needed to at least know this much. Yeah. Had a fever during the sports festival. Midoriya told her, it was a bit intense. Ms. Midoriya didn't expect any of this as she worried about Bakugo. She walked over to him, hoping to help him feel better. Midoriya and his classmates were worried about him as Recovery Girl tried to help him as well. Can't we do something to help Katsuki? Ms. Midoriya asked her, just anything? That made everyone hesitate to even mention One for All. Midoriya couldn't tell her the truth, at least not now. He bit his lip in hesitation and didn't notice Ms. Midoriya looking at him. She seemed to understand that they needed space, and he didn't notice this at all. Recovery Girl. Do we need any medical supplies or medicines that I can go grab? Ms. Midoriya asked her. I can go get extra for Katsuki. I think we're low on some of things we need. Midoriya was surprised by this and felt like something was up. Recovery Girl didn't argue with her as she soon left them behind. Midoriya and some of his friends were confused for a moment. Midoriya worried that she knew something that she shouldn't have known in the first place. Is something going on with your mom or something? Kaminari asked him. Midoriya stared at the door for a moment, but snapped out of it. He needed to help his friend. Even Recovery Girl seemed to understand this as well. Is there anything we can do to help Katsuki? Kirishima asked her. Not unless you can stop One for All from making it worse, Recovery Girl said to them, mostly Midoriya. This is clearly affecting his quirk. It's making it stronger. Maybe a bit too strong for him to handle. Midoriya's heart dropped as his head whipped up to see him sweating even more. He couldn't believe that this was happening. He wanted to help, but didn't know where to begin. He needed to somehow stop One for All from absorbing into him. Midoriya didn't know how to do that. But how? Midoriya cried out. I don't even know how this is possible. What makes you think that I can stop this? Uraraka came over to calm him down, but then he noticed Yaoyorozu. Something about her reminded him of meditation. Reaching out the One for All holders. He had to do something to help Bakugo, and now was the time to do it. Izuku? Uraraka said to him. I need some air. Midoriya said to them, I'm gonna figure this out. Midoriya soon walked out of the nurse's office, not knowing where to go from here. He needed to get out of the nurse's office. Midoriya soon found himself back outside in front of UA. He felt the breeze getting warmer out, hinting at summer coming. Midoriya didn't like this. He needed to figure out what was going on. Midoriya noticed how quiet and relaxing it was outside. Something about it felt so good as he noticed a shady spot under the trees. He walked over to one of them, knowing what to do. Yaoyorozu wasn't with him, but he had to try without her. Midoriya sat down by one of the trees, feeling the warm breeze all around him. He noticed how quiet and cooling it was under the shade. He knew that this was the perfect spot to try it out. Midoriya sat there, feeling it calm him down. He closed his eyes, taking a deep breath in and out. Midoriya felt his shoulders relax as he sat there, trying to reach out to the vestiges. Takudo. Midoriya needed answers, but needed to be patient with this. It might take some time, but it kind of annoyed him a little. Bakugo didn't have that much time. His fever was getting worse, and Midoriya felt himself getting frustrated. He tried to keep going, taking another deep breath in and out. Midoriya sat there, feeling One for All not doing much for him. He focused on reaching out to the vestiges as if he could call out to them. Come on. Midoriya said under his breath, Kudo. Someone. Please help me out. Midoriya sat there, trying to be patient. He needed help, and no one was answering or responding to him. Midoriya got annoyed and soon found himself slamming his fist into the ground. He felt hot tears coming over him, confused as to why it wasn't working. One for All was always complex, but this wasn't the time to have trouble connecting to the vestiges. He wondered if One for All was still adapting from being in Meiho no Kuni. He needed help. Bakugo needed help. Kudo, why aren't you saying anything to me? Midoriya asked through tears. I don't know what to do. Midoriya sat there, realizing that he was in the middle of the hero school's campus. Someone walking up to him, and Midoriya noticed them looking worried. T. Tashinori? Midoriya said to him. All Might looked worried about him as Midoriya tried to hide his teary eyes. Izuku? What's wrong? What are you doing out here? All Might asked him. Midoriya hesitated, feeling like an idiot. His face even turned red from yelling like that in front of him. He knew that All Might would understand though as he stood up to face him. He needed him now more than ever. It's Kaken, Midoriya said back. His fever is back. All Might's eyes widened in shock, but he clearly expecting this to happen at some point. Is he okay? All Might asked him. Midoriya felt hesitant to answer, clearly unsure as to how to stop this from happening. He didn't know what to do since it was kind of his fault. He's not doing so good. His quirk is getting stronger. It might be too much for him. Midoriya said to him through tears, It's my fault. I can't do anything to help him. All Might felt for him as he came closer to him. Midoriya could barely look at him as tears fell down his face. Before he knew it, All Might hugged him. Midoriya felt that even more as tears kept coming. All Might seemed to understand where he was coming from as he hugged him for a bit. We'll figure this out, All Might told him. One for All may be confusing, complicated. But I know that you can do this. You have your friends to help you figure this out. Young Bakugo is strong. He'll get through this. I know he will. Midoriya felt that and didn't pull away. All Might supported him through this and wasn't leaving him. Midoriya was glad that him and All Might went on that long journey together in Meiho no Kuni now. He felt like he needed him even more now. Thanks All Might. In the nurse's office. Bakugo laid down in the nurse's bed, feeling a bit off. He could barely move as Todoroki tried to cool him down. He felt so hot and maybe a bit dehydrated as he laid there. He felt hotter than usual, but the ice coming from Todoroki felt really good. He never felt so lucky and grateful to have Todoroki around ever. It felt so good that he could fall asleep right there. His eyes rolled back, feeling a bit tired. Bakugo, stay awake, Yaoyorozu said to him as she checked on him. Just drink this. You must be really thirsty. Yaoyorozu handed him a cup of water and tried to sit him up. He could barely move his arm, but forced to as he drank his water. Some of it poured onto his cheeks, but he didn't care. He was so hot and sweaty that the extra water felt good. He choked a little from it, making his throat sound dry. Yaoyorozu and his classmates looked worried about him. Bakugo didn't like it, especially with Kirishima nearby. He soon walked over to him, trying to stay brave for him. Bakugo could tell that he was nervous though. Bakugo wondered if he was thinking about what happened last night. Katsuki, you're gonna be fine, Kirishima said to him. Just let us help you. Midoriya will figure this out. Bakugo knew that he would, but didn't know what he would do to help him. He wanted to find out what was going on. Kudo clearly knew what to do or figured out something about what was going on. Bakugo felt like he needed to do something about this. But he could barely move. Todoroki kept making it snow over him, which helped his sweating settle down. He still felt something going with his quirk. He felt like there was something around him like the energy from One for All. He could feel it even without Midoriya around him. It felt like it was absorbing into his quirk. For a moment, he thought he saw an orange spark around his chest. Bakugo had to have been dreaming or was seeing things that weren't really there. Then his eyes drifted up to someone standing in the nurse's office. It was Kudo. Bakugo's eyes widened in shock, seeing Kudo standing there. He was glowing orange just like his quirk. Kudo? Bakugo said to him. Kirishima and the others were confused and shocked at the same time. They noticed him staring at a corner of the nurse's office, but no one was there. Bakugo couldn't deny that he was there. Bakugo, there's no one there, Uraraka said to him. But what if he is here? Ida pointed out, One for All is connected to this somehow. Maybe he's reaching out to him, Yaoyorozu told them. That or he's delirious, Kaminari said to them. Bakugo stared at Kudo, and he never moved from his spot. He gritted his teeth in anger, needing answers. He felt himself getting sweaty from Kudo being near him. Todoroki noticed and tried to keep him cooled down. Something's going on with his quirk, Todoroki told them. It's acting up. If Kudo's here, it's possible that he's doing this. Bakugo wanted to stand up and face him, but could barely move. He felt a headache coming on from the sweat, feeling it getting in his eyes. Bakugo was nervous that his quirk would go off. Why you've gotta get away from me, Bakugo told them. Todoroki and everyone else shocked to hear him say that to them. Bakugo wanted to help them, but he couldn't even move. He looked at Kudo, trying to get answers. Kudo, give me demon answers, Bakugo cried out. Before I blow up the demon nurse's office? Class 2A were worried and backed away from him. Todoroki tried to calm him down, and Yaoyorozu didn't like where this was going. She tried to get rid of the sweat, but he just kept sweating. Kirishima wasn't leaving his side, trying to get him calmed down. Katsuki, we've got you, Kirishima said to him. We'll take care of this. Bakugo's eyes widened in shock, not wanting Kirishima near him. His sweat might hurt him. Before he could say anything, Kudo glowed orange as Bakugo's quirk sparked on his chest. He was the only one that noticed this. Bakugo's eyes widened, confused as to what was going on. His quirk felt stronger, but he didn't like where this was going. Bakugo noticed Kudo disappearing as the orange glow got intense around him. Bakugo felt like he was getting stronger for some reason. I've got the supplies right here, Ms. Midoriya said as she ran into the nurse's office. Bakugo didn't like the fact that Ms. Midoriya was here with him. He didn't want to hurt her by accident. Then Midoriya came walking into the nurse's office along with All Might. Midoriya stopped in his tracks, spotting Kudo in the corner of the office. All Might noticed him freezing in place as if he saw a ghost. Aizuku? All Might said to him. Midoriya's mouth was open as if he couldn't speak. His eyes were wide, and Bakugo knew that he saw him. He didn't even notice his mom in the nurse's office in time before saying it out loud. Kudo! Midoriya cried out loud. What? Class 2A cried out in unison. Ms. Midoriya was confused, but looked shocked to hear him say that out loud. Kudo? You know about Kudo? Ms. Midoriya pointed out. Midoriya whipped his head around, confused as to how she even knew about him in the first place. Even Bakugo was confused as he laid there. Out of nowhere, he noticed Midoriya's connection to Kudo getting stronger as the glow hit him pretty hard. The orange energy was intense as Midoriya stood next to him. Somehow Midoriya being near Bakugo made it stronger. Izuku, how do you know Kudo? Ms. Midoriya asked him, and why are you bringing him up now? Bakugo felt that as the energy absorbed into his quirk. His eyes widened in shock, feeling something coming over him. Bakugo couldn't contain this feeling of heat within him any longer, feeling the need to get away from everyone. Izuku, get everyone out of here. Bakugo cried out, now. Midoriya's heart raced, knowing exactly what was going on. Danger sense went off right as Bakugo yelled at him. Midoriya out of instinct launched Black WHP at everyone in the nurse's office. He slammed Black WHP into the wall, causing them to escape. Midoriya used Float right as an explosion went off. Midoriya felt the heat coming over him as he launched away from him. He landed across from the nurse's office as he let go of everyone. Katsuki! Kirishima cried out. Midoriya heart raced, worried about him. They all stood there wanting to help him out of there. Before he could even do anything, Bakugo stood up to see them okay and safe. He stood by the nurse's office wall that was crumbling. Bakugo was sweating and was pale from being dehydrated. Midoriya felt his stomach tighten up, seeing him standing there like this. Something Bakugo seemed grateful that Midoriya helped him. Izuku. Bakugo said to him through tired eyes, why you're okay. Midoriya noticed him swaying before he knew it. He activated One for All before he knew it as Bakugo fell towards the ground. Kaken! Midoriya cried. Midoriya caught him before he could fall to the ground. He didn't care about the sweat getting on him. He only cared about Bakugo feeling better. Even if he might make it worse, he needed to help him. He held him close, noticing that he was knocked out cold. "Kaken," Midoriya said under his breath, "I've got you." Bakugo didn't move as Class 2A ran over to him. Even Recovery Girl and Ms. Midoriya were worried about him. Midoriya's eyes teared up, clearly worried about his friend. Midoriya looked up his friends, needing their help. Todoroki and Yaoyorozu looked shocked that this even happened in the first place. "Bakugo did this?" Todoroki pointed out. They all looked up to see some of UA damaged from his quirk. Class 2A were all shocked that this even happened. Midoriya was just glad that he could get everyone out of there safely. He needed to help Bakugo now more than ever. "Todoroki, please keep using your quirk to help him," Midoriya said to him. "We need to keep his fever down. I need to figure out a way to control this." Class 2A wasn't surprised by this, but was still shocked that Midoriya could do something about this. "What are you going to do?" Ida asked him. "This is kind of out of your hand. Even for, you know what?" Midoriya knew that Ida was trying to keep one for all a secret in front of his mom. Midoriya looked at Yaoyorozu, knowing that he needed to reach out to the vestiges. Maybe even Uraraka could help him. But he couldn't let his mom know the truth just yet. "I need to help him in any way that I can." In the streets of Japan, Toga felt like she needed to get to UA soon. She felt something coming over her quirk. Something about the smell got stronger. It smelled like really sweet caramel was all over the place. Toga knew that something happened to cause this to go everywhere. It was so strong that she couldn't stop herself. She needed to get there right away. She was able to hide as Uraraka and was soon making her way towards UA. Toga felt her mouth watering just from how strong the smell was. She knew that she needed to get there as soon as possible. Whatever that smell was coming from, it was something that she had never smelled before. Her quirk seemed to have a mind of its own as she got closer to you. Toga could barely get herself to walk away from it, knowing that it was something that she couldn't live without. She swallowed her spit, feeling the need to go to it. She wondered if Midoriya knew about this. He always somehow got involved no matter what. He was the one that got into this kind of mess all the time. She smiled from ear to ear, realizing that things have changed. "Sorry Izuku, but I can't help myself this time around," Toga said herself. "I need to see what that wonderful smell is." Toga kept going, feeling so overwhelmed with this amazing smell. It kept going as she got closer to it. It wasn't going away anytime soon. As she walked closer to you, Toga couldn't stop smiling as she walked along the sidewalk. As she got closer, she remembered that she still had a bit of Achiko's blood. It was wore off yesterday, but she only had a tiny bit left. If she went there, however, she could finally see Uraraka again. And whatever was going on in UA, she just had to know what it was. Toga's eyes locked onto you once she spotted UA in the distance. She wasn't walking away from this. She had to see this through. Or at least that's what her quirk felt like. She couldn't get herself to stop as she walked closer to it. Whatever that smell was, she could tell that it was close by. Like she could practically taste it. She quickly drank Uraraka's blood as she soon transformed into her. Uraraka's face was much more accurate this time around, including her rosy cheeks. She used up all of the blood that she had just to get back into UA. She had to know what was going on. Her quirk was keeping her from leaving them behind. She had to keep going. Something in the back of her mind told her that this was a good thing. That maybe she would finally figure out what to do after this is all over. She thought about Midoriya and Uraraka, remembering the last time she saw them. She couldn't help but smile, feeling a bit conflicted over this decision. Either way, she needed to find answers as to where she belonged. Outside of UA Academy. Because of Bakugo's explosion, Mr. Aizawa came running over in a huff. His eyes were so red and piercing like daggers that Midoriya felt the need to explain everything. Soon enough, Midoriya and Class 2A told him what was going on. He held Bakugo close, worried about him. Midoriya worried that he would separate him like he said he might. But Mr. Aizawa just let out a huff, knowing that things were a bit chaotic. "Take him to the dormitory," Mr. Aizawa told them. "You've got to do this away from the nurse's office. I can't risk him blowing up any other room in UA." Midoriya and Class 2A all agreed and helped Bakugo out. He was knocked out cold as Midoriya carried him. He was heavy, but Uraraka made him lighter. Midoriya felt himself tighten up since he might float away. He had never carried Bakugo before, so it felt a little awkward. Shuji wanted to help, but Midoriya felt like he needed to do this. He didn't want to leave him behind even if One for All was doing this. Bakugo had done so much for him in Meiho no Kuni. He couldn't let him down now. He felt like things were different with One for All once he saw Kudo. Something about it felt less intense, but he could feel it building up again. It reminded him of when Midoriya had a fever with his quirk. He wondered if it was similar to that kind of situation. He couldn't risk this happening again. Midoriya felt Bakugo breathing heavily on him as if he were sensing him. He felt himself tense up as if on autopilot from him being near him. Something about holding him felt a bit awkward. But he needed to help through this. One for All was doing this, he felt like he needed to make it up to him. Aizuku. Bakugo said in his sleep, I feel so dim and hot. Midoriya felt that, his heart breaking when he said his first name. Something about it felt more personal. His sweat was getting everywhere, but he didn't care. He had to keep going as he hoisted up Bakugo a little bit. Bakugo didn't even seem to care as Midoriya kept carrying him. He owed him for everything that he did in Meiho no Kuni. Don't worry, Kaken. Midoriya said to him, I've got you. I'm not going anywhere. Bakugo seemed to relax in his arms, which only made Midoriya feel a bit more stiff. Something about this made his face blush from embarrassment. It felt kind of good having his friend trust him this much. Not only that, but it was Bakugo. Someone that didn't usually trust him or rely on him. He was this feverish and sweaty that he felt the need to rely on him. Midoriya knew that he needed to help him even more now. He felt bad for yelling at him about breaking Himawari's heart yesterday. He didn't want to hate him for something like that. But he felt the need to protect her. Before they entered their dormitory, Midoriya heard someone yelling out to Bakugo. It made him stiffen up, hearing her voice cry out. Katsuki! Himawari cried out. Himawari was heading to classes with her friends and saw him on Midoriya's back, knocked out. They all stopped what they were doing to let Himawari check on him. She ran over to him with tears in her eyes, and Midoriya felt himself stiffen up. Just seeing her like this made things more complicated. Izuku, what happened? Himawari asked him with tears in her eyes. Katsuki's knocked out cold and sweating like crazy. Midoriya stood there, speechless, and didn't know how to go about this answer. He wanted to explain things to her, but his mom was right there. Then again, he couldn't quite tell her the truth either. But he couldn't get the words to form. Bakugo has a fever, and his quirk is acting up, Uraraka said to her with worried eyes. He needs help cooling down. Himawari's eyes widened and hesitated to go back to her friends and classmates. Midoriya noticed her hesitating, and he knew that she wasn't backing down. But he had to convince her to go so they can do this without keeping a lot of secrets. Himawari, go to classes, Midoriya said back. We can take care of this. You can't miss any more of them. I'd say this is more important than classes at the moment. Katsuki's quirk is acting up. If you don't act now, he could accidentally blow up the entire UA campus, Himawari said to him. You know how his quirk is when out of control. Midoriya flinched at that, and everyone felt for him at the moment. But he still couldn't let her help. Not when it was this dangerous. Himawari, you can't help us, Midoriya said to her. You need to stay away from him. You know that your quirk won't help him cool down. You need to. Himawari suddenly stepped up and wasn't backing down with a determined face like hers. Something about it made Midoriya shut up for a moment. Izuku Midoriya. I'm not going anywhere until Katsuki is safe and sound. Got it? Himawari exclaimed to him. Midoriya felt that and didn't back on as his eyes widened, terrified of her. Even everyone in his class and maybe All Might and Mr. Aizawa were shocked to see her act like this. Wait. Got it. Midoriya said a little too loudly. Himawari soon told her classmates and friends to tell their teacher what was going on. Midoriya knew that her teacher would understand since it was an emergency. Mr. Aizawa was surprisingly okay with this and didn't say anything. Himawari was determined to see this through as everyone followed her into their own dormitory. In Class 2A's dormitory, Midoriya and Class 2A soon entered the dormitory, feeling a sense of relief. Yaoyorozu quickly made some more towels and laid them down onto the couch. She completely covered it in towels, knowing that Bakugo was sweating. She made sure that it was secure as Midoriya placed him onto the couch. Bakugo didn't even flinch at Midoriya put him down. He worried about him as Todoroki came over to handle things. Todoroki soon made it snow in the dormitory as Yaoyorozu thought about what to do about his sweat. Midoriya knew that they needed to bring his fever down somehow. He needs some water. Maybe tea that will help bring down his fever, Midoriya told them. Yaoyorozu, can you make a special tea that will help him feel better? Yes. I have everything I need for a fever, Yaoyorozu said back as she ran over to the kitchen. Midoriya thought about it some more as he looked at Bakugo. He looked at Recovery Girl, knowing that she might know how to bring it down some more. Recovery Girl. Would a bath help? Just to bring down his fever, Midoriya asked her, just to delay it until I figure out what's going on with his quirk. Midoriya had to be careful with his words around Himawari and Ms. Midoriya. He looked at All Might, wondering if they should the truth at this point. I would probably help in the long run. Yes, but it would have to be lukewarm, Recovery Girl said to him. Ice baths would only make it worse. That would shock him and make things worse. Especially with a quirk like his. Midoriya and Class 2A felt that, and they took a step back. Kirishima looked worried, and Midoriya knew that Yaoyorozu could make a bath to fill some water into it. He needed to meditate figure out what was going on, but first he had to help him out of this mess. Midoriya didn't think he could even meditate with Himawari and his mom around. Bakugo laid there, looking exhausted and was still sweating a lot. Todoroki tried to stop him sweating but he kept sweating more and more. Todoroki looked so frustrated that he could barely do anything. Midoriya, is there any way to bring down his sweating? Todoroki asked him. My ice is not doing anything. Midoriya noticed that he was sweating a lot more than before. He knew that One for All did something to his quirk. They needed a way to bring down the temperature. It was a bit warmer, so they needed things that would help get rid of the heat. Does anyone have fans? We're gonna need to bring down the heat in order to help him, Midoriya told them. Anything that's cold. Oh, I do, Ashido said as she ran to her dorm room. I have ice packs for hero training, Sato said to him. Those will help, Midoriya said to them. Some of them went to grab some cold things to help ease his fever. Midoriya noticed them in a rush and felt good knowing that they cared. Soon enough, Yaoyorozu came back with tea and ice-cold water. She even made the tea cold to help ease the fever. Midoriya was grateful that she knew what she was doing. Thank you, Yaoyorozu, Midoriya said to her. Do you think you could make a bath for Kaken? He's gonna need it to bring down his fever. Yaoyorozu looked a bit thrown off this request, but she did so anyway. She made it fairly big so they could help Bakugo out. For now, they needed to give him water and tea. Midoriya felt weird doing this, but he had to help him. Bakugo wasn't even awake as Midoriya grabbed some iced tea. He moved his head up a bit very gently, trying to help him take a sip of his tea. He seemed to understand and took a bigger sip than he expected. Midoriya had never done this for him before, feeling a bit awkward doing it. He looked at Kirishima, knowing that things might be better if he did it. He felt bad for Himawari in this moment, knowing how she felt. He hoped that she could handle it for now. Kirishima. Midoriya said back with a bit of a blemish. See, can you help Kaken with this? Himawari instantly whipped her head, and Midoriya knew that he should have done it himself. Kirishima seemed a bit excited to finally help out however, but was still worried. Midoriya backed away and gave them some space. Kirishima didn't seem to have any trouble helping Bakugo as he helped him drink the iced tea. Bakugo was drinking with no problems whatsoever. Midoriya felt weird watching him doing this. He then turned to Himawari, and her face looked a bit uncomfortable watching them together. Class 2A noticed the tension, and Midoriya looked away. His face was red, knowing that this was a bit awkward. He soon decided to help Yaoyorozu with getting the bath ready. Midoriya grabbed a pitcher and filled it with lukewarm water. He soon poured it into the bath as Yaoyorozu helped as well. They kept filling it up, trying to help Bakugo. Recovery Girl didn't even need to do anything, which made her proud. Even All Might was surprised to see them stepping up as friends and heroes. Midoriya kept going at it until the bath was full. He noticed that Kirishima got Bakugo to drink all of the iced tea. Midoriya felt awkward asking this, but he had to help Bakugo out. He hated doing this to Himawari, but she asked to help. Kirishima. See, can you take off his shirt? Midoriya asked him through his blemished face. We need to bring down his temperature. Kirishima didn't feel awkward about it, and soon some of the classmates felt awkward standing there. Bakugo was shirtless, which some of them were used to since they hero trained a lot. But Himawari was a whole other story. She face was turning bright red from seeing him shirtless. Everyone noticed it, which made it even more awkward. Himawari instinctively looked away, but Midoriya noticed her peeking at him. That made him so uncomfortable, seeing his little sister wanting to look at his rival. It was weird having her here in the dormitory. The guys were in the changing room all the time, but this was the dormitory. Himawari still made things a bit awkward between Kirishima and Bakugo with her being here. Bakugo was sweating a lot through his shirt, and Yaoyorozu took it as she threw it in her trash bin. Midoriya came over and helped Kirishima bring him over to the bath. He stirred a little, and Midoriya felt the need to reassure him. It's okay, Kaken. You're okay. Midoriya said to him, we just need to bring down your temperature. Bakugo let out a groan like the sweat was getting to him. Midoriya felt bad for him as they put him into the bath. Yaoyorozu soon made a curtain in the dormitory to give him some privacy just in case. Midoriya appreciated that since Bakugo would probably want some space too. Especially since Himori was already fanning herself from seeing Bakugo shirtless. He checked on his forehead, noticing that it was still the same. It was going to take some time for his fever to go down. Then again, this was always something to do with One for All. Maybe it would go down quicker if handled fast. Bakugo laid there as Yaoyorozu propped his head up with a towel like a pillow. There. Midoriya said to them, this should help. Yaoyorozu felt exhausted, making all of those things in one day. He felt bad for her, but they did it. Now they had to wait and help him hydrate. Bakugo seemed a bit more relaxed as Ishido came down with a fan. She wasn't expecting Bakugo to be shirtless and in a bath. Her eyes were wide, feeling a bit warm from seeing him like this. Sorry. I didn't know you were stripping him down, Ishido said back. Sorry, Kirishima, for looking. Kirishima's eyes widened as his face turned red as his hair. Even Himawari felt that, which everyone uncomfortable. They were both red in the face and couldn't look at anyone directly. Ishido, don't make it weird. Kirishima said back. They soon set up the fan towards Bakugo, which seemed to help him relax even more. Sato brought them an ice pack and decided to use for after the bath. Midoriya watched him far away, hoping that things would work out. Now he had to let his classmates handle things. He couldn't tell Himawari or his mom yet. First, he had to reach out to Kudo. Then he'll figure out what to do about his secret. Midoriya knew that he might need to them sooner rather than later. In Midoriya's dorm room, Midoriya had to change into some regular clothes. He got sweat all over his school uniform and let out a sigh. He knew that Mr. Aizawa would replace it for him. He had to toss it into the trash bin that Yaoyorozu made afterwards. He needed to make sure things were under control. He soon got dressed into a shirt and shorts, hoping that he wouldn't get anything else covered in his sweat. Midoriya felt a blemish form across his face, remembering how good it felt to help Bakugo. He was his friend, but something about it felt weird for a moment. Most of it could have been because of Himawari. But he knew it was because that he never helped Bakugo like this before. They were friends, and he wanted to make sure that he was okay. He felt like he could finally relax, knowing that he was bringing down his fever. Midoriya wondered if he could meditate finally. He wanted to ask Yaoyorozu for help, maybe even Uraraka. He felt like doing it in his dorm room for a moment, so he sat down just to check. Considering his mom and Himawari were downstairs, he kind of had to. Midoriya sat there, not knowing what to do. He closed his eyes, trying to focus on One for All. He didn't activate it, just felt it. Midoriya felt the need to reach out to it, but just gently took his time with it. Midoriya felt calmer now, feeling the energy circling around him. He took a deep breath in and out, feeling something tugging him away. He knew that the vestiges were trying to reach out to him as well. For a moment, he felt like he was being pulled into the vestige world. He didn't even have to try this time around. Midoriya soon felt the energy as if it were right in his dorm room. He looked around where he was, still feeling his dorm room around him. But it looked like he was in the vestige world. He sat there, feeling it circling around him. Something about it felt different from when he's asleep. He felt like he couldn't move around in the vestige world as much this time around. It didn't matter though, since some of the vestiges were finally showing themselves. They glowed their respective colors, finally forming into who they are. Kudo stood out more than them, and Midoriya needed to talk to him the most. He was kind of set off at them for not warning him about this. This was Bakugo they were talking about. His quirk was risky even without one for all. They should have known to say something to him last night while he was sleeping. Izuku Midoriya. Kudo said to him, I can tell that you're upset. Upset? Midoriya pointed out, I had to stop my friend from destroying the school. You need to help me for not reaching out to me sooner. I need answers as to why you were there in the nurse's office. Why are you following Kaken around? But, are you really related to him? Midoriya noticed him hesitate for a moment, which made him feel a bit annoyed. He didn't answer why he was so hesitant to tell him the truth. Then again, he couldn't say anything considering he was hiding the truth to his mom and Himawari. It didn't make sense to him as to why he could even reach out to Bakugo. One for all is complex, but this was different. Midoriya and Bakugo were somehow connected to this quirk more than usual now because of this fever. It's complicated. Kudo said to him. Midoriya noticed that he was hesitating to tell him. He didn't understand any of it, but he clearly had a good reason for it. Midoriya sat up straighter, wondering where this might be going. He didn't know anything about Kudo. Whoever he was, he clearly didn't just tell anyone about whatever he was hiding. But then Midoriya remembered his mom mentioning him like she knew him somehow. She would only know him if he were related to Bakugo somehow. Bakugo's mom could have mentioned him to his mom without him knowing. He had to know the truth no matter what. Kudo. I need to know what's going on with Kaken, Midoriya told him. He's got a really bad fever just like I did. It's gonna keep going off until we bring it down. Isn't it? Kudo didn't hesitate this time around, facing him. Yes and no. Kudo said to him, his quirk is strong, even without one for all. But Midoriya felt that, worried about where this was going. But one for all is reacting differently to him. No one else will ever have that same connection because. Kudo said but trailed off. Midoriya's eyes widened in shock, realizing what was going on. This confirmed it for him. Kudo didn't say it, but the look in his eyes told him what was going on. It got quiet as Kudo stood there as Midoriya sat on the floor. No one said anything, knowing that the tension between them grew. Kudo? Is it true? Midoriya asked him. Yes. Katsuki Bakugo is related to me. Kudo said to him, I don't remember or know how. But, yes. I could feel it from the moment you made contact with Shinomori. Midoriya couldn't believe it. Him and Bakugo were connected to this quirk more than they expected. One of the vestiges really was related to Bakugo. He didn't know if this changed things between them. It felt weird to even realize since Midoriya was talking to one of his relatives. He saw Bakugo more than ever as he stared at him. It felt weird, knowing that something happened for this to happen. Kudo was holding some things back. Kudo, what happened? Midoriya asked him, I can tell that you're holding back something. Kudo looked away from him similarly to how Bakugo did, which really felt weird. The way his eyes squinted and looked away looked just like him. Even his scar didn't change anything as Midoriya stared at him. He waited for an answer, but Kudo struggled to tell him. It's not important. Kudo said to him, what you need to do is help Katsuki. You're the only one that can. One for all is being absorbed into Katsuki. Way more than any of us expected. I think that him being related to one of us is causing one for all to be drawn to him. What? Midoriya cried out. Boo, but that's impossible. It shouldn't be able to do that. Unless I give him one for all. Yeah, but one for all has evolved, Kudo explained to him. You can feel it too. It's been reaching out to your friends and classmates. You have too much energy and you can contain really well. But it still needs to go somewhere. Somewhere that can at least handle a little bit of your quirk. Unfortunately, being related to me is causing Katsuki's quirk to absorb more of it than anyone expected. It's possible that it's a genetic thing as well. That he is drawn to it because he was born with bits of one for all inside of him. What? Midoriya said under his breath. Kaken was born with one for all somehow? I didn't think that it was possible since it can only be passed down. He only has bits of it. It's possible that's why his quirk has always been so strong, Kudo explained to him. I know you feel it too. Midoriya felt like the wind was knocked out of him, realizing that he was right. His quirk was so strong and powerful, even without him giving one for all to him. But that was only because he was born with bits of it inside of him. He couldn't wrap his mind around the fact that someone could be born with this quirk. It didn't seem possible. Kaken. His quirk. It's always been special. Midoriya said under his breath. Right from the beginning. Midoriya started to feel like it made sense to him. He was always so full of energy and had such a passion for being the #1 hero. He never understood how he could always be so full of energy and passionate all the time. He always thought that maybe he was just determined and confident. But he wondered if one for all had anything to do with it. That maybe it fueled his quirk somehow, and he didn't know it. As they got older, Bakugo's quirk evolved over time. He felt it too. Midoriya knew that Kudo was getting somewhere with this. There were questions unanswered that he didn't understand, but he knew that he would find out eventually. Then he looked at his hand, wondering if giving him one for all would help him heal. Then again, it might just make things worse. He remembered how things went with his fever, realizing that Uraraka could help. She could help heal Bakugo. He might not be able to stop it, but he could help his quirk heal. I think I know what to do. In Class 2A's dormitory, Bakugo felt so good as if he were floating slightly. He felt like he was swaying in water. Bakugo didn't really care since he felt so hot. He felt a bit of a cooler breeze coming from somewhere. It felt so refreshing as if he were flying back in Meiho no Kuni. Bakugo wondered what was going on with Midoriya. He didn't know what was going on with him. He felt like he was in his arms at one point, but couldn't remember. He even thought he heard Himawari crying out to him. That felt awful and almost made him wake up. He felt so hot and sweaty at the time that he thought he was seeing things. He might have said something stupid, which made him feel a bit embarrassed. Bakugo could barely move, feeling so relaxed. He wanted to just float there for a while. Bakugo had never felt like this in a long time. He thought he heard someone talking to him. It sounded like Kirishima. He felt the need to open his eyes, but couldn't. He was so tired that he felt like he needed to rest for a while. Bakugo wanted to say something as Kirishima talked to him. It's okay, Katsuki. We're looking after you. Kirishima said to him. Midoriya's trying to figure out how to fix this. Bakugo felt that and almost stirred awake. He could tell that Kirishima was smiling, hoping for the best. He could feel him nearby, but he didn't feel like getting up. He could barely move his arms because they felt so relaxed. Bakugo floated there, letting Kirishima talk to him. Something about it felt so relieving just letting him talk through this. You look better already, man. Kirishima said to him, after this is over, I'll take you out. We'll even go for a hike if you want. You like those? Bakugo felt good when he mentioned a hike. He felt so much more relieved, remembering how good that hike was with Uraraka or just in general. Even hiking or exploring Meiho no Kuni sounded amazing. He always loved hiking, the feeling of getting to the top of the mountain. The wind in your hair, the feeling of getting away from everything. Just like when he flew on Kirishima's back, transformed into a dragon. It just felt so good to think about. Kirishima being there with him felt even better. Better than he expected. He wanted him to be there with him. But then he felt his fever getting through to him. He squinted his eyes as if he felt something coming over his quirk. Bakugo felt himself heating up as sweat kept coming. He could hear Kirishima's voice, but something about his quirk was absorbing more of one for all. It was making him feel out of it again as he felt himself waking up. Taijiro. Bakugo said as he opened his eyes. His vision was blurry, but he could see Kirishima trying to help him. Even Todoroki was right there trying to cool him down. Some others were there trying to help him feel better. They looked worried about him as he stirred awake. He felt like getting up because of the heat, but Kirishima got him to stay in the bath. Katsuki, no. You've got to stay in there, Kirishima said to him. We're trying to help bring your temperature down. But it's so dim and hot. Bakugo said to him through his sweat. I need water. Kirishima looked at Yaoyorozu, who grabbed some for him. Kirishima soon gave him a cup, and Bakugo gulped it down really quickly. He drank it all, but it wasn't enough. His mouth felt so dry to the point where he needed a whole gallon of water just to be satisfied. He tried to get out of the water, but Kirishima kept insisting on staying in the bath. Please, Katsuki. We're trying to help you, Kirishima said back. Bakugo felt himself getting sweatier, feeling the need to get out of there. Others came in to help him, but they felt awkward because of him being shirtless. Come on, Bakugo. Let us help you, Ida said to him. Don't make this awkward, Kaminari said to him. Bakugo resisted, until he saw someone that he wasn't expecting. It was Himawari. She was walking by with some extra tea, and her face was red from staring at him. Bakugo was speechless and red in the face from feeling the awkwardness between them. He felt his heart racing, which only made him sweat more. He soon dunked into the water, feeling embarrassed. They all felt the awkward tension between them as Bakugo soon came up for air. He was gasping for air, trying to cool off. Dude, don't splash the water everywhere, Kaminari said to him. Bakugo didn't even yell at him as he felt his red face settling down. He felt himself looking at Himawari as he lowered himself down into the bath. He felt his face turning red as he lowered his chin into the water. It kept him quiet as he tried to cool down a bit. For a moment it was quiet. Everyone felt the awkward tension in the common room, and Bakugo tried to avoid Kirishima's uncomfortable vibe as well. He knew that he didn't like this. He hated that his old feelings came back here and there whenever she was around. He wished that he could get over it somehow. Then Bakugo felt his quirk absorbing one for all, and he knew what was going on. Then for a moment he saw him again. It was Kudo. He kept showing up anywhere and whenever it was important. Bakugo was starting to get set off, seeing him here. Why you? Again? Bakugo said out loud. They all looked at him, knowing full well that he was seeing Kudo again. But Ms. Midoriya and Himawari didn't know that. They were confused and looked in the direction that he was staring at. Bakugo looked set off as he stared him down. Kudo didn't say anything for a moment, but then looked at Bakugo. He walked over to him, which shocked him. He stopped what he was doing as Kudo got closer to them. They didn't even see him as Kudo stood behind his classmates. Bakugo was sweating and felt so out of it, but he knew that Kudo was there. Things looked weird for a moment, but he knew Kudo was watching him. You better give me DMN answers, Bakugo said to him, not caring about what the others thought. He's losing it, Mineta said to them quietly. Kudo looked at him that looked too much like himself. Then Bakugo knew what he was going to say without him needing to say anything. Yes. You and I are related. Kudo said to him, Izuku Midoriya will explain things in a minute. Bakugo's eyes widened in shock, feeling his heart skip a beat. He froze in place as Kirishima helped him down into the bath. His eyes were in shock and everyone noticed it. He was pale as if he saw a ghost. They were worried about him as Bakugo didn't even look up at Kudo. Bakugo didn't know what to think of this now that it was confirmed. Even if he knew it already, it is different hearing Kudo say it out loud. Bakugo? Are you all right? Yaoyorozu asked him. What did Kudo say? Kirishima asked him. Ms. Midoriya and Himawari were more confused than ever as they talked to him. Before he knew it, Kudo disappeared. As soon as he disappeared, Midoriya came running down as if he were in a rush. Bakugo felt WHP lash as he looked over at him. He felt that and got a massive headache from that. He gripped onto his head, feeling so confused and didn't know what to do. Kaken. You're awake, Midoriya told him as he leaned in closer to whisper to him, I just talked to Kudo. Meditating worked. Class 2A was shocked to hear this, but happy for him that he managed to make it work. Even All Might, Kitsune, and Mr. Aizawa were glad to hear this. All Might stood nearby as Midoriya looked up to see them all here. Luckily Himawari and Ms. Midoriya were out of earshot to hear this. What did he say? All Might asked him. Hopefully he gave you answers as to what's going on. Midoriya's eyes widened as he looked at Bakugo. Something about it made Bakugo realize that he knew too. The way he looked at him, however, told him that was more going on than he realized. He hesitated to tell him everything that he needed to know. When he looked at him, however, Bakugo's vision was still all weird. Midoriya looked off and so did everyone else. His fever was getting the best of him as he stared at him. For a moment, he thought he saw so much energy coming off of Midoriya. It looked like a rainbow, shimmering in the light all around him. He soon spoke up, but that didn't make his vision get any clearer. Are you talking about Kudo? Midoriya's head whipped around to see Ms. Midoriya standing there with Recovery Girl and Himawari. All of them were confused as to how she knew about him. Then again, she was close with Bakugo and Midoriya since they were childhood friends. Midoriya was still shocked to hear her say this out loud. It didn't sound right hearing her talk about him. Even All Might was shocked to hear her mention him like this. Inko, why you know Kudo? All Might asked her, but how? He died a long time ago. Because he's Katsuki's great-grandfather and Mitsuki's grandfather, Ms. Midoriya said to them. What? Class 2A cried out in unison. Midoriya and Bakugo were shocked to hear Ms. Midoriya say this out loud. Something about the confirmation was crazier coming from her. Bakugo looked like he couldn't wrap his mind around his mom telling her this. Ichi's my great-grandfather? Bakugo pointed out, my old hag. Kept this from me. All this time? Everyone felt for him in that moment. Bakugo was so out of it that he couldn't even focus on what was going on. Something about his mom being related to Kudo felt even weirder now. Kudo. Great-grandfather. Bakugo said under his breath, so out of it, who would have thought? They all felt bad that he was so hot and couldn't seem to cool down. Ms. Midoriya looked at them with determination to tell them the truth. Midoriya walked up to her. With eyes that were worried about Bakugo. How do you know this? Did Auntie Mitsuki tell you about him or something? Midoriya asked her. Yes. She told me all about him, Ms. Midoriya said to him with determination. What I don't understand is how you know him. Like you've known before I even told you. And don't say that Katsuki told you because Mitsuki never talked about Kudo with him. Midoriya felt that and knew that she was really determined to find out the truth. Even All Might felt it as he walked over to her. Inko, maybe we could talk about this once young Bakugo's fever is down, All Might said to her. And you, Ms. Midoriya said as she turned around to face All Might, you've been encouraging this. All this time, you've been lying behind my back. Telling my son about all of these quirks. Giving him information about them. Including Kudo's. Why would you use his quirk as information like this? How do you even know Kudo in the first place? Only me and Mitsuki know about him. She even tried to keep it a secret because of. Ms. Midoriya trailed off as All Might stepped back and stumbled into one of the couches. His eyes were wide and in shock, surprised to see her so determined and angry. All Might didn't dare to move, but felt the need to speak up. Even Midoriya was confused about this as she trailed off. Why would you think that Toshinori would ever give me information about quirks? Unless. Midoriya said as he thought about it, you saw my journal. All Might and everyone else were shocked to hear this, and Ms. Midoriya looked up at him. Midoriya's face was pale white as she looked at her son with determination. Sorry, but it was right there, Ms. Midoriya said to him. I went to grab something for you a while ago, and it was open. What I don't understand is how you know about certain things about these specific quirks, and Kudo's quirk. I never told you that, and how would Toshinori know about this? Unless he personally knew Kudo somehow. They all stiffened up as Midoriya and All Might felt speechless for a moment. Even Himawari was there, which didn't help things. She looked so confused, but heard everything. Kudo, Himawari said back, I've never heard of him before. That's because me and Mitsuki promised each other to keep it a secret, Ms. Midoriya said to them, because of Katsuki's quirk. Kudo had a pretty basic quirk, but Mitsuki told me that Katsuki's quirk was stronger than she expected as he grew up. She didn't expect it to be so strong. She even went to the doctors and... Bakugo was so out of it that he could barely understand a word of this. He tried to focus on it, but only heard certain parts of what Ms. Midoriya was talking about. She hesitated to say anything else, but Midoriya stepped up to support her. Please, tell me what happened, Midoriya said to her. This might help him heal. I need to know. She hesitated, feeling the need to keep it a secret. I can't. Ms. Midoriya said through a voice crack. It's important to keep it a secret. I promised Mitsuki. She trusted me with this information. How can I just expose the truth like this? It's not fair to do that to you or her. Even Katsuki has no idea. Everyone was worried, but Midoriya had a feeling that he knew where this was going. He kneeled down to her, hoping that she would reveal it to them. Please, Mom. Kakin needs us, Midoriya said back. This might us figure out how to help him. Ms. Midoriya hesitated, but felt tears coming down her face. Midoriya felt that, and he knew that Mitsuki trusted her a lot. One for all. Ms. Midoriya said without thinking. Midoriya and everyone else whipped their heads over at her, not expecting her to say that out loud. Even All Might was so confused and shocked at the same time. He thought that he was just hearing things, and Bakugo looked up to see what was going on. He was so out of it that he thought he heard Ms. Midoriya say one for all out loud. What did you say? Midoriya asked her with wide eyes. Kudo's quirk is connected to another quirk called one for all, Ms. Midoriya said to him. I don't know the full details of it, but it can be passed down to someone and it grows over time, but Kudo had a wife while he had one for all. Mitsuki never had a strong quirk, so she wasn't worried about something coming up until Midoriya felt that, knowing exactly where this was going. Everyone felt it too, as they all had a hard time wrapping their minds around this. Until Katsuki was born. His quirk has a connection to one for all. Mitsuki thinks that the doctors got it wrong, Ms. Midoriya said to them. They thought that they saw sparks of his quirk going off. But when she saw it, she noticed how similar they were to how Kudo described one for all. Katsuki's quirk is fueled by bits of one for all. It somehow passed her generation and grew over time. Katsuki's quirk is basically a stronger version of Kudo's quirk. Midoriya's eyes widened in shock, feeling himself shaking from this answer. Everyone felt it as they stared at Midoriya with concern. Even Himawari was a bit confused, but somewhat understood what was going on. Kudo's quirk was passed down through genetics? Midoriya said under his breath. That's impossible. All Might said under his breath. Before they could say anything, they heard someone speaking up behind them. One for all is inside of me? Bakugo said to them, still out of it. Midoriya whipped his head around, his eyes still wide and in shock. Bakugo looked pale white and confused as he tried to get out of the bath. He looked like he might pass out from finding out the truth. Bakugo felt dizzy however and couldn't even step out of the bath. Kirishima tried to help him as Todoroki tried to keep him cooled down. Katsuki, please sit down, Kirishima said back. You need to rest. I know this is a lot to handle, but you can't get riled up over this. Auntie Inko, why you knew about one for all? All along? Bakugo asked. Out loud, even my old hag? Midoriya felt for him, and Bakugo couldn't even focus on what was going on. He was out of it that he couldn't even stand up as he sweat all over himself. Ms. Midoriya bit her lip, but soon gave in. Yes, I did. Ms. Midoriya said to them, shocking Midoriya, Mitsuki trusted me to keep it a secret. Bakugo felt that and soon settled down as he spaced out with a pale face. He sat there, looking broken for a moment. Midoriya couldn't wrap his mind around this, realizing how crazy this was. He had one for all because of All Might, but she knew about it all along. Even before he knew about it. Something about this felt weird to know about this, feeling his head was spinning. This is a lot to take in, Midoriya said to her. Why didn't you tell me? I could have kept it a secret. Ms. Midoriya looked determined again, not done yet. That's funny, Ms. Midoriya said back. You seem to have no problem keeping secrets from me. Are you even going to explain to me how you even know about One for All before I even told you? Midoriya jumped back a bit, and All Might felt that too. Everyone was now on the edge of their seats, knowing that things were unraveling. WL. Ice. Midoriya said back, speechless. He was at a loss for words and didn't know what to say to her. It's okay, Izuku, All Might said to him, you can tell her. She deserves to know. After everything that's happened, she probably deserves it for keeping this a secret. Midoriya felt that, and All Might stood by his side to support him. Ms. Midoriya looked confused for a moment, but knew that there was something going on between them. Midoriya didn't even know where to start as Himawari looked at him with interest. He bit his lip, but felt like she needed to know. Midoriya finally needed to tell his mom and Himawari the truth. About One for All. In Class 2A's dormitory, Midoriya and All Might were nervous as everyone took care of Bakugo. He didn't feel the need to hide this anymore from his mom and Himawari. Bakugo was knocked out as everyone looked after him. Midoriya worried about him and knew that he had to get this over. He needed to be there for Bakugo when he woke up. He bit lip and soon spoke up. You know how One for All can be passed down from generation to generation, right? Midoriya asked her. Yes. That's what Mitsuki told me, Ms. Midoriya said to him. Then her eyes looked at All Might, who stood by Midoriya's side, and noticed how Midoriya and him looked nervous. Midoriya noticed that she's starting to put two and two together as her face turned pale white. Her eyes were wide, realizing what was going on. Izuku, tell me this is a joke. Ms. Midoriya said back, because it's not funny. Midoriya felt bad for her, but she needed to know the truth. I trusted your son here with my quirk. A quirk that was passed down to me by my tier and grows over time. The next symbol of peace, All Might said to her, One for All. Ms. Midoriya's eyes were wide as she stared at her son with a pale white face. What Midoriya didn't expect was for her to look so terrified. His heart broke, seeing her so distraught like this. Even Himawari was a bit thrown off by this, but she seemed less stressed out about it. Ms. Midoriya's hands were shaking and almost looked like she might pass out. Breathe, Midoriya said back. Take a deep breath. I'm okay. Really? Ms. Midoriya took in a deep breath in and out, but she was still nervous for her son. She looked at him in a way that he wasn't expecting, wishing that he didn't tell her the truth. Izuku. No. Ms. Midoriya said through tears, not you too. One for All. Is your quirk. I always wanted it to be just a late-blooming quirk, but this is even worse. Midoriya wasn't expecting this at all, feeling himself shake from her reaction. It reminded him of when she said something back then that he wished she said something else to encourage him. It felt like that all over again. One for All is dangerous. Why would you give him something like this? Ms. Midoriya asked All Might in anger. Why would you ever give a child anything like this? You must have what you were doing since you were training him and giving him information that could hurt him. I thought you were just looking out for him, but I see now that you're just using him. You see him as yourself, don't you? You want him to be just like you. Midoriya felt like his heart was broken, seeing his mom fighting with All Might. It was something that he never expecting and wished never happened at all. Something about his mom yelling these things at All Might made him look guilty for everything that she said back at him. Midoriya didn't like this, but All Might didn't know what to say. No. I would never want him to go down that path, All Might told her as his voice cracked. I wouldn't ever want him going down that path, and you know that. I was just trying to train him so that he was ready for what's to come as a hero. The symbol of peace is... No. Don't you dare say that again. Ms. Midoriya interrupted him. The symbol of peace shouldn't be my son. Not when he has such a dangerous quirk. You really thought that I would be okay with this? I was going to put up with this, but now. This is too much. You put all of this on one person. My son. Why would you do that? You should have picked someone that has experience with this sort of thing. Not my son. Midoriya hated this, and everyone could see it unfolding in front of him. He felt his emotions getting the best of him and felt himself getting angry that he couldn't help Bakugo. All he wanted to do was help Bakugo. But his mom was blowing things out of proportion. He needed to help Bakugo, but this wasn't helping him. He then realized that black WHP was leaking out of his arms, and he had to stop this before it got worse. Mom! Stop! Midoriya cried out at her. One for all isn't dangerous. I can handle it. Stop yelling at Toshinori. Please. Everyone noticed Midoriya having trouble controlling one for all. Midoriya gritted his teeth in anger, trying to hold back his quirk. Ms. Midoriya's eyes were wide in shock, not liking where this was going. Without thinking, she ran over to Midoriya to help comfort him. Everyone yelled at her to get away from him, but she didn't listen. Izuku! Ms. Midoriya said back, My baby. You're okay. I'm right here. Midoriya could feel his mom wrapping her arms around him, trying to calm him down. She noticed the black WP leaking from his arms, and Midoriya knew that things would be different. He didn't want it to be different between them. He always wanted her by his side when she got the job in UA. He wanted her to be there for him. Seeing her yelling at All Might was not something that he ever expected to happen. He just wanted her to be happy and proud of him. He had a hard time controlling his quirk, feeling overwhelmed by One for All. Black WHP was leaking out, but Midoriya tried his best to hold it back. Ms. Midoriya wasn't budging as Midoriya tried to calm down. He couldn't seem to shake off this feeling after seeing his mom yelling at All Might. It was too much for him. Izuku, please calm down. Uraraka cried out, Let me help you. Midoriya felt his mom hugging him as Uraraka tried to ease her way towards him. Black WHP was leaking out, but Mr. Aizawa was trying to help shut it off. But it only subsided his quirk, which helped Midoriya stay in control. He soon looked down at his mom, feeling overwhelmed from what happened just now. He felt hot tears forming under his eyes, which caught her attention. Midoriya said back, Why can't you understand that? I need you? I thought that you'd support me through this. One for All is the one thing that I never told you because I didn't want to lose you. Ms. Midoriya felt that as she hugged him tighter. Her eyes filled with tears as she held him close. Midoriya felt himself relaxing a bit as he kept going on and on about what happened. I wanted to tell you, but I didn't want things to change between us. I didn't want to hate me or be disappointed. Like Dad. Midoriya said through tears, You're the only that. I couldn't tell you because of that. Ms. Midoriya felt that as Midoriya soon had more tears running down his face. Midoriya couldn't stop them from falling as everyone took care of Bakugo. Some of them were worried about him, and Midoriya as One for All soon calmed down a bit. They felt the pain in his voice as he kept talking through this. I didn't know that you felt this way, Izuku, Ms. Midoriya said to him with tears. I don't want you getting hurt. I just wish that things were different sometimes, but I try my best to support you. You know that. I just wish that you had a quirk that wasn't so destructive. It just seems like a lot put onto you. And Toshinori, please, don't blame Toshinori. He's just trying to help me train to be a great hero someday. I accepted One for All. He didn't force it onto me. I took it wanting to be a hero just like him. This is my choice, not his. Please understand. Midoriya interrupted. Everyone was shocked to hear Midoriya say such things to his mom. Even All Might was impressed with how straightforward about this whole thing. Himawari looked like she might cry over this as she wiped tears away. For a moment, Ms. Midoriya was quiet. Black WHP was slowly being absorbed back into Midoriya's arms as he calmed down for a bit. Ms. Midoriya then looked up at him with teary eyes, making him feel emotional. Izuku, I will never leave you. Ms. Midoriya said back, I still don't know how I feel about this. But you're still my son. No matter what. Midoriya felt that as emotions got the best of him. He felt tears coming down his face as Black WP finally faded away as he hugged her tightly. He felt himself collapsing onto her as he hugged her back. Tears kept coming as Midoriya felt his mom's embrace. She never left his side as he hugged her tightly. We're okay, Izuku, Ms. Midoriya said back. We're gonna be okay. I'm not going anywhere. Midoriya felt that as he finally felt himself relax from the sense of relief washing over him. Everyone was either holding back tears or checking on Bakugo to make sure that he was okay. Even Himawari was trying to hold back tears as Midoriya soon got up from his mom's embrace. For a moment, they just stood there and took everything in. Midoriya wiped his eyes and didn't know what to say about any of this. Then he noticed his mom looking at All Might. She walked over to him, and Midoriya worried about their relationship for once. He knew that All Might cared about her. He didn't want things to be complicated between them. They had plenty of that already in their family. All Might looked nervous, and everyone else felt for him. Toshinori, I may not agree with what you've done, but Ms. Midoriya said to him, but I do understand that you've been looking after my son. I just wish that you came to me before giving him this kind of quirk. Considering I knew about it from the beginning. Me and Mitsuki knew about it for a long time. We always kept it under wraps because of what kind of quirk it was. I just never thought in a million years that it would end up coming back around on us like this. Through my son. Midoriya felt that as everyone felt bad for them both. Even All Might didn't know what to say to that. I just hope that you can forgive me someday, All Might said to her. I never meant to hurt anyone. Especially Izuku. I know that he's special to you, and I can see now that I should have told you from the start. I just didn't want anything to happen to you. Anyone knowing about One for All can be dangerous. I know that, Ms. Midoriya said back without hesitation, and I don't care. He's my son. I would never want to be in the dark about these things. If he's going to be a great hero like you say he is, then I need to know what's going on. Don't go behind my back again, and maybe I'll think about forgiving you. All right. Toshinori. Everyone was shocked to see them interact like this. Midoriya felt awkward, noticing how close they were. It felt like they were more than just friends by the way they talked to each other. It felt weird seeing them like this in front of his friends and classmates. All Might rubbed the back of his head in awkward silence. Sure. Ainko, All Might said back, I'll do better next time. I truly am sorry. I would never want you or Izuku to get hurt because of me. You've got to know that by now. Ms. Midoriya felt that, and Midoriya noticed her letting out a sigh of relief. Then she smiled at him, which surprised him. Yeah. I know that, Ms. Midoriya said back. You did look out for him in Meiho no Kuni after all. You even supported him through both of the sports festivals. You've been for him since the beginning of you. In a way, I'm glad that he has someone like you, and I'm sorry if I got upset with you earlier. Yes. I was thinking too much about Hisashi for a moment there, but I know you're nothing like him. Midoriya felt that, and his face turned red from embarrassment, knowing where this was going. Even his friend and classmates were a bit awkward around them, realizing how close they were. All Might wasn't expecting that comment about Hisashi and felt a bit hot for a moment there. He even cleared his throat as if to distract himself. It's okay. All Might said back, I don't blame you for being upset. I would be upset too if I were you. I'm surprised that you didn't use your quirk on me. Maybe I will if you keep pulling stunts like that again, Ms. Midoriya said back. All Might had a sweat drop over his forehead as he chuckled nervously. I won't. I promise, All Might said back. Midoriya smiled at them, happy to see them getting along again. But something about his mom looked a bit more distant for a moment. He worried about something between them. Something about it made him realize that he was okay with them being together. For once, he wanted his mom to be happy. Seeing her like this made him feel like he could allow her to move on from his dad. But for now, he had to help Bakugo heal. Everyone was taking care of him as Todoroki tried to keep his fever down. Midoriya noticed Kirishima trying to keep an eye on him. He was waking up and looked really out of it. Midoriya wondered if he knew about what happened just now as he walked over to him. How is Kaken? Midoriya asked them with worried eyes. He's really out of it, Kirishima said back. Katsuki keeps going in and out on us. His fever must really be getting to him. I can keep it down, but his heat is still really strong, Todoroki told him. Midoriya felt so much relief since his mom and Himawari took care of things in the dormitory. He could finally talk about it without worrying about secrets. He let out a sigh, ready to help Bakugo. In Class 2A's dormitory, Bakugo was so out of it and didn't know what was going on. He remembered something that Midoriya's mom said to them. Something about one for all which shocked him the most. She mentioned it like she knew about it for so long. And so did his mom. She knew about it from the beginning. She always knew. Because Kudo is Bakugo's great-grandfather on his mother's side. Bakugo felt so weird that he thought he might have dreamt it all. It felt like a dream as he felt his vision get all blurry and could see colors in the dormitory. It was weird as he looked around to see everyone surrounded by the rainbow lights. It was mostly around Midoriya, and he knew that it was one for all. It was strong and had so much energy coming off of him. Bakugo could feel it. He didn't understand how this was even possible. Bakugo could actually feel one for all, but he couldn't beforehand until now. Then again, he definitely felt it during the sports festival. Right around the time when Midoriya's quirk evolved. That's when it started to change things. Then he remembered what Midoriya's mom said about one for all. He was born with it. Bits of it as if they were sparks. They fueled his quirk, making him powerful than anyone expected. Bakugo always had one for all inside of him. He just didn't know it. He felt so weird once he found out about that. It felt like he was more aware of it as he tried to get out of the bath. Bakugo needed to know some things about his quirk and Kudo. He needed to talk to his mom about this. But for now, he needed to shake off this fever. He wondered if his mom could even help with this at all. She could come in and maybe have some kind of information about Kudo. Maybe it could help him heal quicker if she were around. Bakugo never thought that he would need his mom for help as well. Midoriya was enough, but this was a bit much. He heard Midoriya talking about one for all which caught his attention. It doesn't matter, Midoriya said to them, one for all is reacting to Kaken's quirk. But in a way that's different from everyone else's. Probably because him being born with it. All Might reacted to this, confused as to what this meant. Bakugo was out of it that he thought he heard him wrong. He still couldn't believe that this was even a thing to begin with. It just didn't feel right, knowing that his quirk was somehow a part of one for all. His head spinning, trying to understand what or why this was even happening to him. He groaned, feeling so out of it. That makes sense since no one has ever been born with one for all. It's gonna have a different reaction to the original one for all, All Might asked him. That's just it. One for all is somehow being drawn to him more than everyone else. Kudo said that it's because he's related to him, and he was born with bits of one for all. That it's drawn to him because of it, Midoriya told them. It's like Kaken's quirk is a magnet to it or something. Bakugo felt that as everyone stared at him, he felt uncomfortable for once as Midoriya explained things. But even with him being out of it, he knew that he was right. He could feel it, and there was no denying that. He still felt so hot and sweaty his colors swirled around him. He didn't know what to do in that moment, trying to make sense of it all. Isn't there a way to stop this from getting worse? Todoroki asked him. Midoriya looked at them, then at Bakugo and Uraraka. Actually, I think I know what's going on, Midoriya told them. This might be similar to when I got a fever. Achiko killed me. Kaken's quirk is acting very similar to when I got one. Maybe Achiko's quirk can help since one for all being absorbed into Kaken's quirk. Uraraka noticed everyone staring at her like they needed her help. She got a little embarrassed, but Bakugo was clearly okay with this. Bakugo looked at her, and Uraraka felt him wanting to help him. He was still feeling weird and seeing colors around them as Uraraka got closer to him. He wanted to get rid of this fever. Go ahead, Bakugo said to her. Uraraka nodded and soon grabbed onto his hands. She was gentle with him, which caught his attention. He tried not to make this a big deal as she activated her zero-gravity quirk. He felt that almost instantly, feeling his quirk lighten up. He felt like his quirk was floating and much lighter than before. It felt good and almost felt like a big relief. It was something that he never noticed before until just now. He felt a bit more relaxed as the heat died down a bit. Bakugo felt a bit clear in the head and soon noticed his vision clearing up. Whoa! Bakugo said out loud. That was weird. They all noticed him looking less tired and even less pale pretty quickly. His sweat wasn't as bad, but he was still sweating a little bit. His fever went a little, but it was still there. He felt the need to get up, but Kirishima helped him out of the bath. He didn't even realize that he was in a bath, which didn't bother him now. He felt a headache coming over him as Kirishima helped him out. "You already look much better, Katsuki," Kirishima told him with a smile. "Maybe we can finally do something about this fever." Bakugo sat down, feeling a bit more aware of what was going on. He noticed that the colors were still there, but more subtle. Bakugo felt the need to drink some water as he grabbed some more off of the coffee table. Bakugo felt the water flowing down his throat, which felt really good. He felt so much better already, but still felt pretty hot. "How are you feeling, Kaken?" Midoriya asked him. Bakugo looked at him and felt kind of weird after finding out what was going on. He felt a bit awkward sitting near him, not sure if he should stay away from him. His quirk was causing this. "Fine. But really hot." Bakugo said to him, "It's nothing I can't handle." Yaoyorozu soon moved the fan over to him, and Bakugo soon felt relief coming out of his mouth. He had to sit there for a minute just to take it in. It helped him wake up a bit. He didn't care if they were staring at him. He just wanted this heat to go away. But then he noticed Himawari. She was red in the face from him being shirtless and kept her distance. He felt that as his heart raced from her staring at him. Something about her being here felt like things were coming together really quickly. His old feelings were coming back, and he didn't know how to feel about that. This fever wasn't helping either. He could barely remember anything that happened for the past couple of hours. Some things came up here and there, but he knew one thing. He born with a bit of one for all inside of him. The one thing that Midoriya was given. Something about it felt wrong for him to have this inside of him. But he always had it. He was still sweating all over his body, which was different from how his quirk usually works. Bakugo looked at his hand, feeling like his quirk was stronger. It wasn't just in the palms of his hands at the moment. It was all over him. He didn't know how he felt about that. He noticed Midoriya staring at him, clearly worried about him. Bakugo just hoped that things would go back to normal soon enough. But he had a feeling that things were different now. In Class 2A's dormitory, Bakugo was exhausted. His fever was all over the place. He didn't understand why it wasn't settling down or going away. Bakugo really thought that it would be gone by now. Since it wasn't, he had to stay in the common room where everyone could check on him. He ate his dinner by the couch with Kirishima since he needed to cool down. He took another bath when his fever got worse. Luckily, he never destroyed anything with his quirk. He sat with Kirishima, eating his dinner while watching TV. He didn't mind sitting with him since they kind of got some time to themselves. Bakugo kind of liked it even if his fever was bothering him. Something about having Kirishima around made him feel way better. He felt exhausted, however, as they watched TV. Bakugo felt himself drifting to sleep, which caught Kirishima's attention. His sweat was dripping onto the towels around the couch. Bakugo tried to stay awake, but felt himself started to see colors again. He even had a weird moment where he remembered the dream with Toga again. He had forgotten about that and felt himself touch his neck again. Bakugo could have sworn that someone was watching him. He couldn't shake off this feeling as he saw colors. "Are you okay, Katsuki? You don't look so good," Kirishima asked him. Bakugo looked at him and felt his heart flutter from seeing him. Something about the lighting made him stand out even more. His eyes and bright red hair looked way more tempting to lean into. Bakugo couldn't look away, feeling a bit disoriented. Kirishima was confused as his face turned bright red from Bakugo coming towards him. Soon enough, Bakugo gripped onto his hand tightly. "Katsuki?" Kirishima said out loud, "What are you doing?" Bakugo looked at him closer, feeling the need to stare at him. Kirishima's face was so red that he was practically smoking. "Why you look so hot?" "Ijiro," Bakugo said to him through his sweat, "I could kiss you." Kirishima's eyes widened in shock, not expecting him to say such things to him tonight. He couldn't even get away from him as he leaned closer to him. His eyes were so soft and tired-looking that Kirishima couldn't look away. They were mere inches away from kissing, and Kirishima felt nervous for some reason. "Oit! Katsuki!" Kirishima cried out, "You're sick. You need to rest." Bakugo stared at him in a way that made him feel good. He was so out of it that he didn't notice everyone staring at them. They were red in the face, seeing Bakugo mere inches away from kissing Kirishima. Something about what he said really threw them all off. Even if they were together, it was still weird seeing him doing this in front of everyone. Come on. Bakugo said back. Just
What?
kiss. I'm so
I need.
just one kiss. Kirishima's eyes were so wide as Bakugo tried to stuck him. He felt the need to swallow like this was a lot to handle. Bakugo was tempting him as he leaned in closer. Kirishima couldn't pull away as Bakugo soon played with his red hair. That got him good as Bakugo leaned in to kiss him. Kirishima couldn't hold back as Bakugo kissed him pretty passionately. He couldn't pull away as Bakugo kept kissing him. Class 2A were so speechless and their jaws dropped seeing them kissing like that. All of the girls were red as they fanned themselves from them kissing. Some of the guys were either shy and awkward about it or blushed from seeing them like that. Midoriya blushed as his jaw dropped, seeing Bakugo kissing Kirishima like that. He was clearly disoriented from the fever by the way he talked to him. This is so awkward. Kaminari said to them with a blushing face. They need to get a room, Mineta said to them, a little annoyed. Midoriya looked again, but they were still kissing. He felt weird looking, but it was his friend that he had known for a long time. His face heating up from seeing Bakugo kissing Kirishima like that. Something about it felt really weird watching them kiss. Soon enough, Ida stepped up as former class rep. Bakugo! Kirishima! This is totally inappropriate. Ida told him, you shouldn't be doing that in our common room. We're trying to have dinner here. Bakugo stopped kissing Kirishima, who was so out of it and knocked out from kissing him like that. His face was red as his eyes looked white and knocked out. Bakugo looked at Ida with annoyed eyes. He looked exhausted and swayed from his fever. The way he looked at Ida seemed like he wasn't fully awake. Why you can't tell me what to do? Bakugo said to him, you're not even Class Republic anymore. Class 2A was surprised to see him out of it. Midoriya got up as others went to help out Ida. Midoriya noticed his eyes looking so heavy and kind of soft looking. He was clearly half asleep and disoriented from his fever. Ida, maybe we should give him a break, Midoriya said to him. This fever is clearly making him act like this. I'll do something about it in the morning. Aizuku. Bakugo said to him, making Midoriya flinch. I need you. This fever is so exhausting. Why you can have one for all to yourself. Why you're stronger than me. You always were. Midoriya's eyes widened in shock, hearing him say something so personal in front of everyone. He felt bad for him as everyone stared at Bakugo like that. Bakugo would have never said that if it weren't for this fever. Midoriya needed to do something about this sooner rather than later. Before he knew it, Bakugo leaned into him closer. That made Midoriya flinch and blushed from him being so awkward. He looked at him more closely, which felt really uncomfortable. Why you look a lot like Himawari. Bakugo said back, why even got those cute freckles? Midoriya felt that as his face heated up from embarrassment. He was not expecting that as Bakugo looked at him like that. It was the way he looked at Himawari back then. He felt his heart skip a beat as he turned even redder that everyone was here to witness that. They were all shocked to see Bakugo said that out loud. Yeah, okay. Even I think that was cringy, Kaminari said to them. Bakugo would never say that to Midoriya or maybe even Himawari, Uraraka said to them as her face blushed a little. Midoriya felt weird as he tried to shake off this feeling. Bakugo was so out of it as Kirishima laid there on the couch. What do we do? Yaoyorozu asked Midoriya, we can't just leave him like this. Midoriya didn't know what to do. He looked at the water, wondering if splashing with water would help snap out of it. Before he knew it, he was already grabbing the pitcher. Bakugo didn't see it coming as Midoriya splashed him with water. What the? Bakugo cried out, drenched in water. Deku, why the hell did you do that? He's back, Shiro said to them. Bakugo was wide awake with a sweaty face and a fever still going. He went to stand up, but he felt dizzy and was about to fall to the floor. Midoriya instinctively activated his quirk and caught him just in time. He was still awake but struggling to get through this fever. Midoriya worried about him, but still weird about what he said. Kaken, are you okay? Midoriya asked him, you were out of it for a while. Bakugo noticed him blushing a little as he got up. He noticed everyone looking a bit embarrassed or cringing as if he did something. Then he saw Kirishima passed out on the couch. He was still red in the face, which confused him a lot. Then Bakugo's eyes widened in shock as his face turned bright red. He didn't even know what to say for a moment. He looked at Kirishima. He even had trouble looking at Midoriya. Dude, you really went at it with Kirishima. I approve, Mineta said as Jiru jabbed him in the ear. Bakugo's eyes were wide. From embarrassed and shocked that he did that in front of everyone. He soon tried to get up to check on Kirishima. Bakugo could barely look at him, noticing how knocked out cold he was. Kirishima had the dumbest look on his face, like he liked what happened. Ijiro, wake up, Bakugo told him through a blemish. Soon enough, Kirishima woke up to see Bakugo right next to him. He looked away from him with a red blemish across his face. That was... Kirishima said, trailing off. Well, felt really good. Bakugo couldn't deny the fact that he might have just done something really embarrassing in front of everyone. He couldn't stop heating up, which didn't help his fever. He felt himself getting dizzy again, as if this fever was getting through to him again. He held his head as others noticed and wanted to help. Then Bakugo spoke up to Midoriya, which surprised him. You need to stop this DMN fever. Do whatever you can to get rid of it, Bakugo said to him. Midoriya didn't hesitate and understood. Bakugo was clearly a bit more aware of what was going on at the moment. Should we take shifts for the night? Ida asked him. Bakugo needs to stay in the common room. It's easier that way to check on him. Bakugo hated this, but they had to handle this certain way. I'll take the first shift, Midoriya told them. Bakugo didn't seem to like this idea, and so did the rest of the class. No offense, Midoriya, but maybe you should give Bakugo a break from you, Siro said to him. I'll take the first shift, Yaoyorozu said to them. I can make him tea to help subside the fever. Bakugo didn't mind that since it was clearly helping him feel better. Besides, Yaoyorozu wasn't annoying like some other classmates. Alright, just call us when you need us, Ida told her. It's getting late anyway. We should all turn in for the night. Midoriya noticed Bakugo looking up at him like he wanted to talk to him about something. He didn't know what it was, but it was definitely something that bothered him. Everyone left as Yaoyorozu decided to make some tea for Bakugo. Kirishima soon got up and gave Bakugo a kiss on the cheek for a good night's sleep. Midoriya felt bad that he couldn't do anything for him. He hoped that he could meet up with the vestiges in his dream or something. He did all he could for the night. He needed some sleep and would call Yaoyorozu in the middle of the night when things are quiet. He was determined to help Bakugo out of this mess. He left Bakugo and Yaoyorozu alone together, hoping that things will be okay. Midoriya had this feeling that he shouldn't be leaving Bakugo alone with Yaoyorozu. It was just a feeling that wouldn't go away. He felt like something else was going on that he didn't know about. Midoriya felt it as if something or someone was watching them. He thought that maybe it was the vestiges. But something about it felt off. He didn't understand why he felt this way. Midoriya just hoped that it was just because he was tired. He had to let Yaoyorozu handle things for the night. Midoriya looked at his hands, remembering what happened today. He activated landmines, which meant that he activated all of them. Midoriya felt a sense of relief for some reason. He didn't at least have to worry about that anymore. All of his quirks were finally awakened. In the vestige world, Midoriya could feel one for all flowing towards Bakugo the moment he entered the vestige world. He could tell that it was being drawn towards Bakugo. He knew that he had to stop it from getting worse. Midoriya wondered if he could even heal it himself. He had to help him somehow. He's done so much for him lately. He felt the need to owe him so much. Midoriya felt the energy leaving the vestige world as he stood there looking at it. He knew that it was going over to Bakugo. Midoriya was curious and wondered if he could stop it himself. He wanted to heal his quirk just like he healed one for all. He knew that he could do it. This was Bakugo's quirk that he was talking about. He had to do something. Midoriya felt Kudo and the other vestiges staring at him like he shouldn't do this. He didn't hesitate to go after Bakugo. One for all activated, feeling the energy swirling all around him. He felt himself being pulled towards Bakugo's explosive quirk. Midoriya felt like it was easier to get to him than he expected. Then again, Bakugo was drawn to One for All. Midoriya felt himself drifting over to the energy that was heading towards Bakugo. It was mostly orange, but with a bit more of One for All than he was expecting. He felt it getting stronger and more intense as he got closer to it. He even felt some heat coming from it. For a moment, he thought he saw sparks coming off of it like a sparkler. Midoriya's eyes lit up and couldn't look away. He was staring at Bakugo's quirk. Something about finally seeing the power of his explosion quirk was so fascinating to him. He always had a feeling that it was similar to a sparkler just based on what it looked like when he was younger. It felt like nothing had changed from when it first manifested. Like Bakugo still held on to that feeling of when he first manifested it. Midoriya then noticed that it was getting stronger. Maybe it a little too strong. The sparkler turned into a firework, and he had to back away from it. The heat got even more intense as he faced it. Bakugo's quirk was so hot and flashy that he could barely face it. He squinted his eyes, trying to help him. Midoriya felt the need to keep going and help Bakugo. He had to do something. Midoriya felt hot and a bit sweaty as he got closer to it. He had to heal it but didn't know what to do. He didn't have Uraraka with him. Then he wondered if he could take One for All back. He tried to get rid of the fever by taking some of it away from him. Midoriya kept going as he reached out to it. He felt the heat getting intense as he reached closer to it. Once he touched it, he winced from the burning sensation. It didn't move away from it, trying to heal it himself. Midoriya focused on One for All, trying to take it back. He felt it coming back, but it felt hot like Bakugo's quirk was heating it up. Midoriya felt it being absorbed back into him, but felt himself getting really hot too. He winced from the pain as if the burning sensation was too much for him to handle. He had to take some of it in order to heal it. Midoriya kept trying to take more of it, but felt something coming over him. He felt like his quirks was manifesting as he tried to heal Bakugo. He could feel it coming. Midoriya had to heal Bakugo. Once he pulled some of it away, however, he felt something or someone pull him away from it. Midoriya's eyes widened in shock, catching his breath. He felt really hot for a moment as if he were still in the vestige world. It took him a minute to realize that All Might pulled him out of there. He woke him up from his meditation. Midoriya felt Bakugo's quirk slipping away from him as the heat disappeared. In Class 2A's dormitory, Midoriya sat there along with All Might and Ms. Midoriya. He had just snapped him out of it after trying to heal Bakugo. Midoriya felt like he could still feel the heat coming off of Bakugo. It felt so intense and strong, just the way he always pictured Bakugo's quirk. Class 2A were all worried about him as they ran over to check on what was going on. Izuku, are you all right? All Might asked him with concern in his voice. Izuku, you need some tea or something to cool you down, Ms. Midoriya said to him. You're sweating. Midoriya didn't even realize and soon felt sweat on his forehead. Bakugo's quirk was so strong that it made him sweat outside of the vestige world. One for All really was making him stronger. But then he realized what he was trying to do and looked up at Bakugo. His froze in place, noticing Bakugo's eyes. He looked set off, which didn't help things. He was staring daggers at him as Midoriya sat there. Bakugo looked a bit out of it, which worried Midoriya. Deku. Bakugo growled at him. What did you to my diamond quirk? Midoriya didn't like the sound of that. Bakugo got up despite his fever and dizziness. Before he knew it, Bakugo grabbed onto him and hoisted him up. He held his collar as he stared daggers at him. His eyes were out of it, but he still needed to know what happened. Bakugo! Put him down! Uraraka cried out. Katsuki! Leave him alone, Kirishima said back. Boys, break it up, Ms. Midoriya said to Bakugo mostly. This isn't helping either of you, All Might said back. You did something to it. I could feel it. Bakugo yelled at him through his red face. Don't ever do that again. Class 2A were all shocked to hear this and whipped their heads at Midoriya. Even All Might was shocked to find this out. Ms. Midoriya was still processing a lot of what One for All was capable. So this shocked her along with Himawari. Kitsune backed away just in case they started arguing. She couldn't risk them touching bodies, especially when Bakugo had a fever. Mr. Aizawa kept an eye on her to help out. Midoriya hesitated to answer, but he felt one for all inside of feeling a bit heated up. He knew that it was because of Bakugo's quirk. I was just trying to heal you. Midoriya defended himself. I thought you wanted my help. Not like that. Bakugo cried out with a red face. That felt so damn weird. What were you trying to do? Midoriya knew that he wouldn't like what he had to say next. He could still feel that heat in his hands from touching his quirk. I was trying to take one for all back, Midoriya told him. I thought that maybe taking some of it back would help you heal faster. Clearly one for all is doing this to you. I thought that maybe I could handle it. Bakugo's eyes widened in shock as Class 2A stood there, speechless as to what happened. Wait, you saw Bakugo's quirk? Kaminari cried out. Bakugo's eyes were wide and looked like they were in shock hearing Kaminari hear that. He couldn't look away from Midoriya as he stared him down. Midoriya felt hot all of a sudden through his hands as he faced Bakugo. Yeah, I did it, Midoriya told him. It was really intense and hot. I didn't think that I could do it, but I managed to take a bit of one for all back. Bakugo didn't say anything as his eyes widened in shock. Even All Might and Ms. Midoriya were speechless as to how he could even manage to do something like this. He didn't look away as if what Midoriya told him was too much to handle. Kaken, Midoriya said to him. Bakugo snapped out of it and let go of him. Midoriya was surprised that he wasn't yelling at him anymore. He was confused and so was everyone else. He hid his eyes from Midoriya with his hair as if he needed to look away from him. Why you saw my quirk? Bakugo said to him, how is that even FANG possible? Midoriya didn't like that he felt this way. He was just trying to help him, but felt bad for him. He was just as confused as he was. I'm sorry, Kaken, Midoriya said to him. I just really wanted to help you heal. This fever is clearly too much for you. I would never want you to go through this if I could actually stop it from happening. I really thought that I could heal you. Bakugo then felt his forehead, and Midoriya noticed him sway a bit. He was even sweating still as he stood there. Oh, you didn't, Bakugo said to him. I'm still sweating. But you shouldn't have done that without warning me first. I would have never wanted you to actually reach out to me like that. Bakugo's face turned red from embarrassment as his fever came back. Kirishima noticed him swaying as Bakugo sat back down onto the couch. Midoriya got up to get him some water. As he placed his hand onto the coffee table, he felt his hand heat up as he poured some water. Midoriya felt that as all of the heat came down to his fingertips and the palm of his hand. For a minute, danger's sense went off. Midoriya got confused, but instincts took over as he grabbed onto the coffee table. Look out! Midoriya cried out. Before they knew it, he flung it out of the dormitory's window. Class 2A were all confused, but then they noticed the coffee table explode into pieces. Their eyes widened in shock, seeing the coffee table explode. They all looked at Midoriya and Bakugo, who were both confused. What just happened? Ida asked him. Why did that coffee table just explode? Bakugo, did you do that? Uraraka asked him. No, I can't explode something from that far away. Bakugo cried out. Then they all looked out the person who threw it. Midoriya stood there with his quirk activated. He tried to catch his breath as he stood there. For a moment he looked at his hands. He felt like he could feel the heat all over them as if he touched the sun. It felt intense, and he could have sworn that he saw smoke coming out of his hands. All Might and Ms. Midoriya both shared the same look with wide eyes as they stared at Midoriya. Izuzuku? All Might said to him, Did you just? Yeah. I think I just awakened landmines. In Class 2A's dormitory, Bakugo was exhausted. His fever was all over the place. He didn't understand why it wasn't settling down or going away. Bakugo really thought that it would be gone by now. Since it wasn't, he had to stay in the common room where everyone could check on him. He ate his dinner by the couch with Kirishima since he needed to cool down. He took another bath when his fever got worse. Luckily, he never destroyed anything with his quirk. He sat with Kirishima, eating his dinner while watching TV. He didn't mind sitting with him since they kind of got some time to themselves. Bakugo kind of liked it even if his fever was bothering him. Something about having Kirishima around made him feel way better. He felt exhausted, however, as they watched TV. Bakugo felt himself drifting to sleep, which caught Kirishima's attention. His sweat was dripping onto the towels around the couch. Bakugo tried to stay awake, but felt himself started to see colors again. He even had a weird moment where he remembered the dream with Toga again. He had forgotten about that and felt himself touch his neck again. Bakugo could have sworn that someone was watching him. He couldn't shake off this feeling as he saw colors. "Are you okay, Katsuki? You don't look so good," Kirishima asked him. Bakugo looked at him and felt his heart flutter from seeing him. Something about the lighting made him stand out even more. His eyes and bright red hair looked way more tempting to lean into. Bakugo couldn't look away, feeling a bit disoriented. Kirishima was confused as his face turned bright red from Bakugo coming towards him. Soon enough, Bakugo gripped onto his hand tightly. "Katsuki?" Kirishima said out loud, "What are you doing?" Bakugo looked at him closer, feeling the need to stare at him. Kirishima's face was so red that he was practically smoking. "Why you look so hot?" "Ijiro," Bakugo said to him through his sweat, "I could kiss you." Kirishima's eyes widened in shock, not expecting him to say such things to him tonight. He couldn't even get away from him as he leaned closer to him. His eyes were so soft and tired-looking that Kirishima couldn't look away. They were mere inches away from kissing, and Kirishima felt nervous for some reason. "Oit! Katsuki!" Kirishima cried out, "You're sick. You need to rest." Bakugo stared at him in a way that made him feel good. He was so out of it that he didn't notice everyone staring at them. They were red in the face, seeing Bakugo mere inches away from kissing Kirishima. Something about what he said really threw them all off. Midoriya was just glad that Himawari wasn't here since she went back to her dormitory. Even if they were together, it was still weird seeing him doing this in front of everyone. "Come on," Bakugo said back. "Just kiss. I'm so I need just one kiss." Kirishima's eyes were so wide as Bakugo tried to stuck him. He felt the need to swallow like this was a lot to handle. Bakugo was tempting him as he leaned in closer. Kirishima couldn't pull away as Bakugo soon played with his red hair. That got him good as Bakugo leaned in to kiss him. Kirishima couldn't hold back as Bakugo kissed him pretty passionately. He couldn't pull away as Bakugo kept kissing him. Class 2A were so speechless and their jaws dropped seeing them kissing like that. All of the girls were red as they fanned themselves from them kissing. Some of the guys were either shy and awkward about it or blushed from seeing them like that. Even All Might felt uncomfortable as Ms. Midoriya's eyes widened, not knowing about their relationship. Tensei and Kitsune tried not to think about it, but were told what was going on with Bakugo's fever. Midoriya blushed as his jaw dropped, seeing Bakugo kissing Kirishima like that. He was clearly disoriented from the fever by the way he talked to him. "This is so awkward," Kaminari said to them with a blushing face. "They need to get a room," Mineta said to them, a little annoyed. Midoriya looked again, but they were still kissing. He felt weird looking, but it was his friend that he had known for a long time. His face heating up from seeing Bakugo kissing Kirishima like that. Something about it felt really weird watching them kiss. Soon enough, Ida stepped up as former class rep. "Bakugo! Kirishima! This is totally inappropriate," Ida told him. "You shouldn't be doing that in our common room. We're trying to have dinner here." Bakugo stopped kissing Kirishima, who was so out of it and knocked out from kissing him like that. His face was red as his eyes looked white and knocked out. Bakugo looked at Ida with annoyed eyes. He looked exhausted and swayed from his fever. The way he looked at Ida seemed like he wasn't fully awake. "Why you can't tell me what to do?" Bakugo said to him, "You're not even Class Republic anymore." Class 2A was surprised to see him out of it. Midoriya got up as others went to help out Ida. Midoriya noticed his eyes looking so heavy and kind of soft-looking. He was clearly half asleep and disoriented from his fever. "Ida, maybe we should give him a break," Midoriya said to him. "This fever is clearly making him act like this. I'll do something about it in the morning." "Aizuku," Bakugo said to him, making Midoriya flinch, I need you. This DMN fever is so exhausting. Why you can have one for all to yourself. After all, why you're stronger than me. You always were. Midoriya's eyes widened in shock, hearing him say something so personal in front of everyone. He felt bad for him as everyone stared at Bakugo like that. Bakugo would have never said that if it weren't for this fever. Midoriya needed to do something about this sooner rather than later. Before he knew it, Bakugo leaned into him closer. That made Midoriya flinch and blushed from him being so awkward. He looked at him more closely, which felt really uncomfortable. Why you look a lot like Himawari. Bakugo said back, why even got those cute freckles? Midoriya felt that as his face heated up from embarrassment. He was not expecting that as Bakugo looked at him like that. It was the way he looked at Himawari back then. He felt his heart skip a beat as he turned even redder that everyone was here to witness that. They were all shocked to see Bakugo said that out loud. Yeah, okay. Even I think that was cringy, Kaminari said to them. Bakugo would never say that to Midoriya or maybe even Himawari, Uraraka said to them as her face blushed a little. Good thing she's not here. Midoriya felt weird as he tried to shake off this feeling. Bakugo was so out of it as Kirishima laid there on the couch. What do we do? Yaoyorozu asked Midoriya. We can't just leave him like this. Midoriya didn't know what to do. He looked at the water, wondering if splashing with water would help snap out of it. Before he knew it, he was already grabbing the pitcher. Bakugo didn't see it coming as Midoriya splashed him with water. What the? Bakugo cried out, drenched in water. Deku, why the hell did you do that? He's back, Shiro said to them. Bakugo was wide awake with a sweaty face and a fever still going. He went to stand up, but he felt dizzy and was about to fall to the floor. Midoriya instinctively activated his quirk and caught him just in time. He was still awake but struggling to get through this fever. Midoriya worried about him, but still weird about what he said. Kaken, are you okay? Midoriya asked him. You were out of it for a while. Bakugo noticed him blushing a little as he got up. He noticed everyone looking a bit embarrassed or cringing as if he did something. Then he saw Kirishima passed out on the couch. He was still red in the face, which confused him a lot. Then Bakugo's eyes widened in shock as his face turned bright red. He didn't even know what to say for a moment. He looked at Kirishima. He even had trouble looking at Midoriya. Dude, you really went at it with Kirishima. I approve, Mineta said as Jiru jabbed him in the ear. Bakugo's eyes were wide from embarrassment and shocked that he did that in front of everyone. He soon tried to get up to check on Kirishima. Bakugo could barely look at him, noticing how knocked out cold he was. Kirishima had the dumbest look on his face like he liked what happened. Jiro, wake up, Bakugo told him through a blemish. Soon enough, Kirishima woke up to see Bakugo right next to him. He looked away from him with a red blemish across his face. That was, Kirishima said trailing off. Well, felt really good. Bakugo couldn't deny the fact that he might have just done something really embarrassing in front of everyone. He couldn't stop heating up, which didn't help his fever. He felt himself getting dizzy again as if this fever was getting through to him again. He held his head as others noticed and wanted to help. Then Bakugo spoke up to Midoriya, which surprised him. You need to stop this DMN fever. Do whatever you can to get rid of it, Bakugo said to him. Midoriya didn't hesitate and understood. Bakugo was clearly a bit more aware of what was going on at the moment. Should we take shifts for the night? Ida asked him. Bakugo needs to stay in the common room. It's easier that way to check on him. Bakugo hated this, but they had to handle this a certain way. I'll take the first shift, Midoriya told them. Bakugo didn't seem to like this idea, and so did the rest of the class. No offense, Midoriya, but maybe you should give Bakugo a break from you, Shiro said to him. I'll take the first shift, Yaoyorozu said to them. I can make him tea to help subside the fever. Do you mind if I join you? Ms. Midoriya asked Yaoyorozu, shocking Midoriya. I feel like I'm responsible since I did tell you all. What's going on with Katsuki? Midoriya wasn't expecting his mom to be involved with this. Everyone else was shocked, but no one said anything to stop it. Even All Might seemed a bit hesitant of her staying up for a long night. Are you sure? You need some sleep for work tomorrow, All Might said back. Ms. Midoriya didn't hesitate as she stared at Bakugo. Midoriya noticed his mom wanting to stay with him and help him like she needed to. Like she owed him for keeping this secret from him and Midoriya. Are you sure? Midoriya asked her with worried eyes. Yes. I'm sure, Ms. Midoriya said to him. Besides, Katsuki deserves to know the truth. He seems more level-headed now. Bakugo looked at Ms. Midoriya like he wanted to know, but had a bit hesitant in his eyes. Midoriya and Bakugo felt the same way as Midoriya's mom settled down to help Yaoyorozu with the tea. Midoriya knew that things were different now with One for All. But he worried what this meant for Bakugo and his quirk. It felt weird to him to think that he had a part of his quirk inside of him. Alright, just call us when you need us, Ida told her. It's getting late anyway. We should all turn in for the night. Midoriya noticed Bakugo looking up at him like he wanted to talk to him about something. He didn't know what it was, but it was definitely something that bothered him. Everyone left as Yaoyorozu decided to make some tea for Bakugo. Ms. Midoriya decided to help her, and Bakugo looked worried for a moment. Kirishima soon got up and gave Bakugo a kiss on the cheek for a good night's sleep. Midoriya felt bad that he couldn't do anything for him. He hoped that he could meet up with the vestiges in his dream or something. He did all he could for the night. He needed some sleep and would call Yaoyorozu or his mom in the middle of the night when things are quiet. He was determined to help Bakugo out of this mess. He left Bakugo, his mom, and Yaoyorozu alone together, hoping that things will be okay. Midoriya had this feeling that he shouldn't be leaving Bakugo alone with his mom and Yaoyorozu. It was just a feeling that wouldn't go away. He felt like something else was going on that he didn't know about. Midoriya felt it as if something or someone was watching them. He thought that maybe it was the vestiges. But something about it felt off. He didn't understand why he felt this way. Midoriya just hoped that it was just because he was tired. He had to let them handle things for the night. He knew, however, that things were different between them. That his mom would tell him some things that even he didn't know about. Midoriya looked at his hands, remembering what happened today. He activated landmines, which meant that he activated all of them. Midoriya felt a sense of relief for some reason. He didn't at least have to worry about that anymore. All of his quirks were finally awakened. In Class 2A's dormitory, Bakugo sat there watching TV. He was quiet, not knowing what to say with Ms. Midoriya around. She kept cleaning up the kitchen, which made it less awkward. She clearly wanted to talk to him about Kudo and Mitsuki. He wanted to know more about it, but himself hesitate. Something about it told him that once he knew about it, it would change how he sees his quirk. Bakugo didn't know if he wanted that. Yaoyorozu soon came over with tea for all of them, making things less awkward for him. Hers and Ms. Midoriya looked different since she didn't have a fever. Bakugo didn't know what to say as she sat there with him. Thanks. Bakugo under his breath. Yaoyorozu couldn't help smile as she sipped her tea. No problem, Yaoyorozu said back. It's just some elderberry, ginger, chamomile herbal blend. It should help with your fever. Bakugo never really was a tea drinker, but it was refreshing. It at least helped his mouth feel less dry. He took a sip, already feeling the cold sensation from the ice. It felt good and soon drank some more. He felt it run down his throat, which helped a lot. He let out a gasp, feeling like he could relax a bit. Bakugo noticed how quiet it was as the fan blew onto him. It wasn't much of a breeze. He was shocked that he kind of wanted Todoroki to help reduce his fever. He looked at Yaoyorozu, noticing how quiet she was. She didn't ask him questions or try to make conversation with him. She was giving him space. Then Ms. Midoriya came over to check on things as she sat down with Yaoyorozu. She smiled at her as Yaoyorozu gave Ms. Midoriya some tea. Here you go, Ms. Midoriya. I thought that you would like some tea for the night. It's a special blend that I've been working on for a while, Yaoyorozu said to her. Thank you, Yaoyorozu. I needed a good cup of iced tea right about now, Ms. Midoriya said back. And please, call me Inko. Thank you for looking out for Izuku and Katsuki here. You look like someone that knows what they're doing half the time around here. That seemed to make Yaoyorozu blush for a moment as she tried to keep calm and caress the cup. Oh, I'm just looking out for my friends, Yaoyorozu said back. I just know that Izuku needs help with his quirk and all. Bakugo felt weird to see them talking about Midoriya and never really brought up what he was going through. He didn't know what to say as he sat there, watching the TV. He bit his lip, not sure what to say about this. He wanted to ask some things about Kudo and his quirk, but Ms. Midoriya didn't say anything. After a moment, it was quiet. Then he noticed Ms. Midoriya glancing over at him. He didn't drink his tea for a while, knowing that she might say something about Kudo and his quirk. Auntie Inko, what are you about Kudo and my quirk? Bakugo asked him. Yaoyorozu's eyes widened and looked away from him a moment. Clearly she didn't feel comfortable being there since it wasn't something she should be talking about with them. Ms. Midoriya thought about it as the TV played in the background. Bakugo felt a little bit uncomfortable sitting in silence. Whatever she knew about Kudo and his quirk, she might not say much about it. Kudo is your great-grandfather on your mother's side, Ms. Midoriya said back. He was a secretive man. I don't know much about him, but Mitsuki might know more about him. You might need to ask her about this. Bakugo felt that, now feeling the need for answering even more. Auntie Inko, please, I need to know what's going on with my demon quirk, Bakugo said back. I heard what you said, but I don't remember it fully. Something about one for all being a part of my quirk? How the hell is that even possible? I thought that it was the one demon quirk that can't be passed down genetically. They were all quiet for a moment as Bakugo sat there with a confused look on his face. Ms. Midoriya hesitated to say anything, but then noticed his face. He was determined to find out more about his family. Ms. Midoriya and Yaoyorozu sat there, and Bakugo was hoping that she would give in. For a while no one said anything. Kudo had a quirk similar to yours, Ms. Midoriya said back. All I know is Mitsuki told me that his quirk wasn't as strong as yours. I think it was called landmines, but that's all I know. Bakugo felt that, feeling weird that she even brought up Kudo's quirk. Something about it felt even more confirmation that he's his great-grandfather. That's weird to hear you say that out loud, Bakugo said under his breath. I never thought you would know anything about One for All. Ms. Midoriya seemed thrown off by that and seemed guilty for keeping this secret from them. Soon enough, Yaoyorozu intervened to make things less awkward. Midoriya awakened that quirk just now today, right? Yaoyorozu pointed out. Maybe we can take advantage of this somehow. It's possible that Midoriya can help heal you even more now. Maybe even reach out to Kudo and get more information out of this. Bakugo didn't know how to feel about Midoriya being able to communicate with his relative. It was still something that was hard to wrap his mind around as he sipped his tea. Mitsuki and Masaru might be able to come by soon once this fever is down, Ms. Midoriya said back. You should talk to them. They could clear things out. Maybe even come over just to make sure you're okay. I'm sure they're worried about you once they found out about your fever. Bakugo hesitated to even bring it up, not sure he wanted to even bring his parents along for this. That they might find out about One for All and Midoriya. More and more people were finding out about One for All. They don't exactly know about my fever, Bakugo said back. I never got around to calling them. Katsuki, you need to call them. They must be worried sick about you. Especially after happened with Meiho no Kuni, Ms. Midoriya said back. Bakugo, when was the last time you even talked to them? Yaoyorozu asked him. They really must be worried about you if you don't call them that often. Bakugo felt embarrassed as he blushed a little as he avoided eye contact with them. It doesn't matter. They shouldn't even know about One for All in the first place. I didn't even know that they already knew, Bakugo said back. This is so confusing. You really expect me to tell them the truth? I can't just tell them about Deku. It's not exactly my secret to tell. Ms. Midoriya hesitated for a moment, and Bakugo knew that she's still dealing this weird secret. Bakugo didn't like it either, but he could that she was a bit more confused than he was. This was One for All they were talking about. No, of course I'm not expecting you to tell them anything about Izuku. I just think they should know that you found out the truth, Ms. Midoriya said to him. Besides, they know more about Kudo and what happened than anyone else. Bakugo gave her a disapproved TSK as if he were annoyed with his mother. She shouldn't have kept this a DMN secret in the first place, Bakugo said back. Mitsuki's been keeping this under wraps for so long for a reason, Ms. Midoriya said back. I know that you're upset, but you shouldn't be. She's been doing this to keep you safe. She didn't want anyone finding out about you having bits of one for all in your quirk. If anyone find out, someone might take advantage of you and your quirk. Bakugo's eyes widened, realizing that he had the same problem as Midoriya. But then he thought about the fact that one for all could pass down. He felt sick to his stomach, wondering if his quirk was even able to do that. There was no way that it could even do that. Bakugo didn't like where this was going as he avoided eye contact with them. Before he even knew it, Yaoyorozu was already asking what he was thinking about. Wait a minute. Can't Bakugo pass down his quirk if this were the case? Yaoyorozu asked Ms. Midoriya. One for all can be passed down, but what about someone like Bakugo's quirk? I mean, technically he has one for all. Bakugo hated that she brought this up, but Ms. Midoriya seemed unsure about it herself. It's possible, but take that with a grain of salt, Ms. Midoriya said back. I don't even think Mitsuki knows if it's possible. That's why I say that you should talk to her. They really should come over. At least to clear things up with you and your quirk. Bakugo hesitated to even call them, let alone have them over for a minute. But then what she said soon resonated with him. Knowing more stuff about his quirk might help him understand why his fever came back. He had to at least try to help himself somehow. Even if Midoriya couldn't heal it, they might know what to do. Fine. I'll call them in the morning, Bakugo said to them. That's all I'm asking, Ms. Midoriya said back. Bakugo was started to feel pretty tired as his fever settled down for a bit. He soon gulped all of that tea, feeling much better. He soon noticed how quiet it was. The TV played in the background as Yaoyorozu watched it. Ms. Midoriya decided to go grab some blankets from the dormitory. Yaoyorozu didn't even say anything as they watched TV. Bakugo appreciated that she was making this easier for him. He started to feel a bit tired as Yaoyorozu settled down. As time passed by, Bakugo felt his eyes getting heavier. His vision was getting blurry as he stared at the TV. His sweat was starting to come back as he got dizzy. He even felt a bit hot, but couldn't get up. He was too exhausted to move. Bakugo, Yaoyorozu said, not realizing that she had gotten up to check on him, you should get some sleep. I'll keep an eye on things. Bakugo didn't even hesitate and disagree with her since he was exhausted. He soon felt Yaoyorozu gently nudge him down to the couch as he laid on the pillow. She soon put a blanket nearby just in case. She didn't want him overheating. Bakugo felt himself falling asleep pretty quickly as Yaoyorozu got up to clean some more. Bakugo felt so tired that he didn't even want to get up. He felt so relaxed, knowing that Ms. Midoriya, Yaoyorozu and the others were there to help him. Outside of class. 2A's dormitory. Toga had been hiding this the entire time. She was getting ready for the perfect time to strike. She couldn't wait any longer, however, but realized that Bakugo was alone. Almost. There was that girl that was now their class republic with them. She was so annoyed, seeing her taking charge without anyone else around. She needed to get her away from Bakugo. Toga didn't know what to do to keep her away from Bakugo. Toga drooled over seeing Bakugo and smelling his caramel scent. It was so strong that she couldn't hold herself back any longer. Toga had to get in there. She soon snuck around the side of the dormitory, noticing a door. Toga knew that the dormitory must have had a back door. She walked over to it, but then noticed Yaoyorozu coming out. Toga quickly hid behind a corner, noticing her putting trash away. Yaoyorozu soon disappeared inside once she was done throwing it away. Toga smelled something in the trash as she got closer to the door. It was that caramel smell. Her eyes soon drifted to the trash, wondering what it could have been. Toga snapped out of it for a moment, realizing that she really going to dig through trash to do this. Something about it smelled so good. Toga couldn't hold back any longer as she opened the trash. She smelled it coming up from the trash bags that Yaoyorozu put away. She soon opened the bag, noticing that it was piled up with Bakugo's clothes and towels. Maybe even Midoriya's because she thought she smelled his scent in there with it. She knew now that his sweat was what made him smell so good. She didn't know whether to be grossed out or not. Soon enough, she reached into the trash bag. Once she felt his clothes in her hand, she felt the need to smell it. Toga couldn't help herself, smelling that sweet smell. It smelled so good. Maybe better than Midoriya's or Uraraka's. His was just so intoxicating that she couldn't leave it alone. Toga wanted to smell it again, but soon realized that Bakugo's scent was much stronger. Her eyes widened, confused but happy about this. Toga couldn't help but smile as she opened the door. Before she knew it, she was sneaking into the dormitory. It was dark in there as Toga tried to make her way towards Bakugo without Yaoyorozu spotting her. She noticed her cleaning up the kitchen and soon went to go to the restroom nearby. Toga smiled, knowing exactly what to do. She noticed that the handle was a bit of a weird shape. She could easily grab a broom and make it lock into place. She soon found one and did just that. Toga then locked eyes onto Bakugo, knowing that she was in the clear. She walked closer to him, noticing him sleeping. He looked so peaceful in his sleep that she couldn't look away. She then stared at his neck, feeling the need to bite down and drink his blood. "Oh Katsuki, you're so cute when you're sleeping. With your amazing smelling sweat all over you," Toga said to him quietly. Toga felt so tempted to drink his blood. She got closer, noticing how much of a heavy sleeper he was. She finally had him right where she wanted him. Bakugo stirred a little from his fever as he tried to move a bit from it. He clearly was sweating because he didn't feel good. Toga didn't mind as she got closer to him. She was only mere inches away from his face as she stared at him. "You're mine now, Katsuki," Toga whispered to him. She soon heard Yaoyorozu trying to open the door, which seemed to stir Bakugo awake. Toga worried about her waking him up, so she soon got ready to strike. She climbed over Bakugo, ready to drink some of his blood. She needed to do this now before she got caught. Toga even considered taking him with her. But she knew that he would put up a fight. She had to do this right now. She soon pinned him down, which caused him wake up from shock. His eyes were wide, feeling completely out of it. His fever was getting to him as he stared at what looked like Uraraka. His face was red from embarrassment, shock and confusion at the same time. "You Uraraka?" Bakugo cried out. What the hell are you doing?" Before he knew it, Toga covered his mouth. He felt so dizzy from his fever and was so exhausted from dealing with it all day. He couldn't move like always, but he was very confused as to what was going on. Bakugo stared at what looked like Uraraka, which made Toga smile from ear to ear. "You don't want wake up Izuku, do you?" Toga asked him. Bakugo was so confused and out of it, but Toga couldn't hold back anymore. She was mere inches away from his face, which made Bakugo instinctively move away from her. He soon fell to the floor, trying to get away from her. He couldn't get up as Toga walked over to him. Bakugo's eyes were wide, feeling dizzy and disoriented from his sweat and fever. His face was red, seeing Uraraka like this. "You Uraraka? What the hell are you doing?" Bakugo cried out. "You're with Deku." His fever was starting to get through to him as Toga got on top of him. Bakugo could barely do anything, feeling his strength weakening from his fever. Toga needed to keep him from yelling out and alerting everyone in the dormitory. She knew that her disguise would wear any second now. She pinned down Bakugo, feeling the need to hold him. Bakugo could barely do anything, trying to at least get her away from him. She soon pulled at his hair and get a good look at him. Bakugo felt chills go up and down his back as she got close to him. She suddenly smelled him, which creeped him out. "You smell like Kerm. So it is you after all," Toga said to him. She suddenly threw him onto the couch, Bakugo being surprised by her strength. He felt so dizzy and weak that he could barely fight back. He couldn't get up as what looked like Uraraka climbed on top of him. She soon gently touched his shoulders and ran her hands down his arms. That ticked his arms, feeling a bit weird as Uraraka did this. He didn't like it, but he couldn't get up. Uraraka then felt his chest that was still shirtless. Smiled at him in a way that reminded him of someone else, but he couldn't think of who it was. Toga looked at his neck, finally feeling the need to drink his blood. She smelled his sweat on her hand, and Bakugo gritted his teeth in annoyance. "You are Uraraka. What the hell is going on with you?" Bakugo asked, feeling out of it. "Shoo, don't talk," Toga said as Uraraka, "just Let me enjoy this. She got closer to him, only mere inches away from his neck. Bakugo couldn't move, feeling her breathe on his neck pretty heavily. You're mine now, Katsuki. Bakugo's eyes widened and suddenly felt a painful bite on his neck. He tried to fight her off of him, but he could barely move his arms. He felt so weak already from the fever as Uraraka bit him. He felt so weird as he did something to him. He felt so relaxed as she kept sking on his blood. He then realized that she was drinking his blood. He felt so weird and completely out of it as Uraraka kept drinking his blood. He felt himself weakening even more as Uraraka kept going at it. He knew that something wasn't right. His eyes were tired and glossy as she kept drinking his blood. Bakugo couldn't do anything and needed help. Izuku, I need you. In Midoriya's dorm room, Midoriya felt something coming over him. He was asleep, but something told him to wake up. He felt like danger sense was activated as he stirred in his sleep. Midoriya tried to ignore it as he slept for a good while. He needed to sleep so he could help Bakugo. But then something happened. For a moment, he could have sworn that Bakugo called out to him. Izuku, I need you. He said it so clearly like he could hear him right next to him. He felt like Bakugo was trying to get him to wake up. All of a sudden, Midoriya felt like something was wrong. He felt like Bakugo was being pulled away from him. He could feel something draining away from him. Bakugo stuck out to him even more as if he could reach out to him. He could have sworn that danger sense was going off, but he didn't know why. Then he saw Bakugo in his sleep reaching out to him. He felt himself trying to help him as his fingertips almost grabbed him. But then something got in between them as Bakugo got pulled away. Something came over him as Bakugo was suddenly being pulled away from him. Kaken! Midoriya cried out. He woke up, realizing that it was just a dream. He tried to catch his breath, but something didn't feel right. Once he calmed down, danger sense still went off. He knew that Bakugo needed him. Something happened with his quirk. Midoriya didn't even think about it as he ran down the hallways. Some of his classmates might have woken up from it, but he didn't care. He needed to check on him. Something was wrong with his quirk or his fever got worse. Midoriya soon entered the elevator, waiting impatiently for it to open. Once he did, he ran over to Bakugo. Once he did, however, he stopped in his tracks. His heart felt like it stopped beating for a minute, seeing what looked like Uraraka over Bakugo. For a split second, he actually thought that Uraraka was cheating on him as he saw her with Bakugo. He then noticed what she was doing to him, which traumatized him even more. He noticed a bite mark on Bakugo's neck. "Oh, Achiko?" Midoriya said under his breath. She looked up to see Midoriya showing up out of nowhere. All of a sudden, Uraraka's face melted away. Midoriya's eyes widened in shock, not expecting this to happen. His heart was racing, seeing Toga pinning Bakugo down. He couldn't get himself to speak for a moment as Toga stared him down. "TT Toga?" Midoriya cried out. Toga smiled at him as she sat on top of Bakugo. He wasn't moving, and Midoriya knew that she drank some of his blood. She wiped her mouth, feeling satisfied. She stared daggers at Midoriya as if he were the one ruining the moment. "Sorry, Izuku, but I found someone else," Toga said as she caressed his neck. Before he knew it, Toga lifted his head by his hair to grab his attention. He didn't even fight back as Toga got closer to his face. "Katsuki is mine." Before Midoriya could do anything, someone came in from the hallways with extra blankets. "All right, Katsuki. I brought blankets down for you just in." Midoriya's eyes widened to see his mom grabbing blankets from the hallway. He froze in place, hating seeing his mom in the middle of all of this. She was confused as to why Midoriya even here to begin with. "Izuku, what are you doing here?" Ms. Midoriya said to him. Midoriya stood there as Ms. Midoriya noticed something going on with Bakugo and someone on top of him. Her eyes widened in shock, seeing Uraraka on top of Bakugo. Seeing blood on her mouth, and Bakugo's neck made her freeze up and turn pale white. "Achiko? What's going on?" Ms. Midoriya cried out. "Get off of Katsuki." Ms. Midoriya tried to make her way over to Bakugo, but Midoriya tried to stop her from interfering. "Mom, don't!" Midoriya cried out. "You can't be here. Go get Mr. Aizawa. But Katsuki. Ms. Midoriya cried out. He needs me. Mom. Go. Please. Midoriya cried out. Ms. Midoriya hesitated, but soon ran for it to go get Mr. Aizawa. He then turned to see Toga on top of Bakugo. Midoriya couldn't even believe what he was seeing. Toga wasn't supposed to be here. She shouldn't even be here in the first place. He felt his face turning pale white, seeing Bakugo like this. He clenched his fists, trying to get himself to go after him. Let go of Kaken, Midoriya growled out as tears ran down his face. Toga grabbed onto Bakugo like she was protecting him. He was about to grab him, but Toga went to bite him again. Midoriya stopped in his tracks, seeing Toga even here at all. He didn't want Bakugo anywhere near her as she went to bite him. Midoriya's danger sense was going off, realizing that it was going off for Bakugo. One for all must have somehow been connected to him to cause it to go off. Midoriya stared daggers at Toga, realizing that he couldn't do anything. She stared back at him, making him freeze in place. Toga was only mere inches from biting him again as her smile grew wide. Midoriya felt chills go up and down his spine as he watched Toga caress him. You and Achiko are special to me, Toga said to him, but I couldn't help it. Katsuki just smells so good. I needed to come here and see him, taste his blood. It's so much better than yours and Achiko's. Midoriya's eyes widened in shock, realizing what was happening. Then he heard someone trying to banging on the restroom door nearby. Midoriya then realized that Yaoyorozu was stuck because of Toga. He didn't know what to do, hoping that someone would come down to help him. Toga smiled as she got closer to biting Bakugo. Before he could reach out for Bakugo, the elevator door opened. Some of his classmates and friends were finally showing up to help him. In Class 2A's dormitory, Midoriya stood there, frozen in place. He didn't know what to do as Toga caught close to biting Bakugo. He was just glad and relieved that his friends and classmates were finally here to help him. They ran out of the elevator, but only a few of them. It was Ida, Kaminari, Kirishima, Siro, and Todoroki. They saw Midoriya standing there with the widest eyes they've ever seen. He whipped his head around to see them standing there, ready to help him. Midoriya. What's Toga's got Kaken? Midoriya cried out with tears in his eyes. They all froze, seeing someone on top of Bakugo. None of them were expecting Toga to show up in their dormitory anytime soon. Not only that, but Bakugo was bitten by her as they noticed him sitting there. He wasn't moving. His eyes were glossy as he tried to fight this weakened feeling. Bakugo looked like he tried to grit his teeth, but could barely do that. He was sweating profusely from his fever and from Toga drinking his blood. Kirishima instinctively ran over to him with wide eyes. His face was pale white as Toga pulled him closer to her. She protected Bakugo like she wanted him to herself. Her eyes were staring daggers at them as she held Bakugo tighter. Katsuki's mine. Toga growled at them, you can't have him. Kirishima didn't know what to do as Toga held onto him. They couldn't fight her off of him since she was only mere inches away from him. They couldn't risk it since he couldn't move away from her. Toga! What the hell are doing here? Ida cried out. You left when you helped save Midoriya. Why are you back here after all this time? Midoriya could tell that he was trying to stall her so they could come up with a plan. Todoroki soon eased him way over to the restroom to help Yaoyorozu out of there. She was worried about Ms. Midoriya and wondered where she was. Toga didn't seem to notice as she stared daggers at Ida. She didn't really like any of them interrupting her. Katsuki's blood smells so good. Toga said to them, I couldn't help it. His sweat smells like caramel. I needed to come see him for myself. Midoriya's eyes widened in shock, realizing what was going on. Toga's quirk did this to her. She felt this urge to drink his blood because of his smell. Midoriya felt uncomfortable seeing her like this. Something about it though made him realize that she couldn't control her quirk. Midoriya wondered if she even liked him, and Uraraka because of what happened those time they've seen her. Midoriya clenched his fists, realizing that Toga didn't mean to come here all this time. Soon enough, Yaoyorozu came running out of the restroom to find Bakugo needing help. Her eyes were wide and tried to run over to Bakugo. No. Bakugo! Yaoyorozu cried out with tears. Todoroki soon stopped her before Toga could do anything to her or Bakugo. Midoriya noticed everyone trying to surround her as Toga stayed on top of Bakugo. Bakugo tried to get up, but could barely move his arms. Midoriya noticed his eyes staring daggers at Toga as she stayed close to him. He had to get her away from him. But for some reason, he felt the need to help her out. Toga, let us help you, Midoriya said to her. What? Class 2A cried out in unison. They all stared him, confused and shocked that he would even suggest this. Bakugo wasn't even away from her yet. Midoriya, what are you doing? Kaminari cried out. We need to help Bakugo, not Toga. Midoriya ignored him, noticing Toga's expression. She looked confused as to what he was talking about. Help? Me? Toga said to him, what are you talking about? Midoriya's eyes never looked away from her, hoping that this was help her get away from Bakugo. He needed to at least try to help Toga so he could also get Bakugo away from her. Just, Toga, you didn't mean to come here, Midoriya told her. It's your quirk. You can't help it. Can you? They all were shocked to hear him say this out loud to her. Midoriya now understood her a little more after her being gone for so long. After everything he's been through, he was starting to understand where she came from. She couldn't control it. Toga, I understand what's going on, Midoriya said to her. It's his quirk. It's too strong for you. Kaken's sweat is made of nitroglycerin. That's why it smells like that. You didn't mean to because he has a fever that's making him feel this way. Your quirk is making you do this. Midoriya's eyes pleaded to Toga to step away from Bakugo. Her eyes widened in shock as if she realized what was going on. It looked like she snapped out of it as her quirk was deactivated or something that like. She was going to step away from him, but she felt herself having a hard time doing so. Bakugo tried to move, but Toga kept a close eye on him. Just, let us help you, Midoriya told her. You need to step away from Kaken. It's your quirk doing this. You don't actually want to hurt him, or drink his blood. Please. They were all shocked to hear Midoriya actually trying to get through to her. They didn't even fight her, and yet she seemed to understand what was going on. Her eyes were locked onto Midoriya as if she needed to hear that from him. Toga looked at Midoriya like she might go after him. But then she hesitated and stepped away from Bakugo. Once she did, however, Midoriya noticed her eyes looking at Bakugo again. They looked like they were locking onto him again, ready to strike. Like they couldn't hold back any longer. Before she knew it, Midoriya launched Black WHP right at her. She was suddenly wrapped in Black WHP so she couldn't get away. She didn't expect it as Midoriya tried to hold her back. He gritted his teeth, trying to help her away from Bakugo. Kirishima, go grab Kaken. Midoriya cried out. Kirishima didn't hesitate to run after him. He went to pull him up off of the couch, which grabbed Toga's attention. She was having a hard time fighting through her own quirk. She tried to get out of Black WHP, but it was too strong. Katsuki, stay away from him. Toga cried out, he's mine. Class 2A were all shocked to see Toga in their dormitory, acting like this. She was always going on about Uraraka and Midoriya. Now she was obsessed with Bakugo because of his sweat. His fever was drawing in because of her quirk. Midoriya held her back, but made her stare daggers at him. Izuku. Toga growled at him, you did this. It's always you. Midoriya felt that as he tried to tighten his Black WHP around her. He had to hold her back until his mom brought Mr. Aizawa or All Might to come over to help them. Ida soon ran off to go get him, which got Midoriya feeling a bit more relaxed. He looked at Toga, knowing that she was needed help. She looked at him like he did something wrong. He stood tall, knowing that he could help her. He walked over to her as she stared daggers at him. Toga, I want to help you, Midoriya said to her. You helped me back there in that factory. Do you remember? Toga looked at him like she wanted to forget about it. But something about it clearly bothered her to leave that day. Of course I remember, Toga said to him. I was never going to come back ever again. I promised you and Achiko that I would let you two move on. Midoriya was expecting that, not knowing what to think of her in that moment. She clearly had feelings for him and Uraraka, which was a bit unnerving to say the least. He really wanted to understand her better, but he knew that she was a complicated person. But Kaken, you don't actually mean it that you like him. Midoriya said to her, it's your quirk. You can't help it. Like I said, his fever is doing this to him. You're drawn to him because of his quirk. This isn't your fault. Midoriya felt bad for her, realizing that she was having trouble moving on from them. She wanted to, but her quirk wouldn't allow it. Midoriya knew that this was the best opportunity to help her. He looked at Bakugo, who was with Kirishima. Bakugo looked out of it as Kirishima tried to help him out. Yaoyorozu tried to check on his neck, but he winced from the pain. He looked at Toga, and she looked a bit more aware of what was going on. Izuku, why are you helping me? Toga asked him, after everything I've done. To you and Ochako. And now Katsuki. Why? Midoriya didn't hesitate as he looked at her current state. Her eyes looked lost and confused, and he knew that she needed help. Because you look like someone who needs saving, Midoriya said with a smile. Toga's eyes noticed how hopeful he looked, and her eyes saw it too for a moment. Then she looked away from him, which caught his attention. She looked a bit unimpressed, like she didn't think that he could do anything. Whatever. You clearly don't know me, Toga said back. Before Midoriya could anything back, Mr. Aizawa, Kitsune and All Might ran over to them with Ms. Midoriya. Their eyes widened in shock, seeing Toga in black WHP. They even noticed Bakugo being patched up by Yaoyorozu as he sat by the dining room table. He looked so out of it and sweaty after what happened. Toga? What is she doing here? Mr. Aizawa asked them. How did she even get through the gate? Midoriya noticed All Might looking worried for him as he held Toga with black WHP. He wanted to explain things, but Toga was already trying to get away. He tried to hold her still, but she made him sway a bit as black WHP loosened up. He tried to tighten it, but she was trying to get away from them. Midoriya felt her trying to pull him away from everyone else as he launched right by her feet. Black WHP was loosened up all around him as he fell to the floor. Midoriya was suddenly mere inches away from Toga's face. He instinctively activated one for all to get away from her. But he suddenly felt her grab his arm before he could get away. She was fast enough to grab him before he could run off. Toga was soon pulling him close to her with her arms around his. Midoriya! They cried out in unison. Izuku! Ms. Midoriya cried out with tears in her eyes. All Might stopped Ms. Midoriya from running over to her, which caused her to tear up. Toga didn't even bite down on his neck as she was only mere inches away from it. He felt her hot breath near him, which gave him chills. Midoriya needed to stop her before she got away. But no one could get anywhere near her. Don't move. Or else. Toga said to them. Toga showed them her teeth, about ready to bite down on his neck. Midoriya felt himself tense up, knowing that her quirk was hard to control. They all stood there, worried about Midoriya. Danger sense wasn't going off, which confused him. He wondered if it was because of Toga's feelings and how she felt about him. Toga! It's not too late, Midoriya said to her. Stop now. Before you do something that you'll regret. Class 2A was shocked to hear Midoriya still trying to help her. She held him close, but no one dared to move. For a moment, it was quiet. Then Toga smiled widely, but something about it seemed similar to when she left Midoriya in the factory. Izuku, I thought I loved you, Toga said to him, but things have changed. Midoriya's heart skipped a beat, feeling her heavy breathing picking up. He felt danger sense activating, which caught his attention. Before he could get away from her, someone stepped up to face her. Toga! It was Bakugo. He looked so out of it as he swayed to face her. Everyone was trying to stop from saving Midoriya. Something about him stopped Toga from biting down on Midoriya's neck. Bakugo stared at her with glossy eyes that were looking even more exhausted than a few hours ago. Toga couldn't look away from him as her mouth drooled from seeing his sweat. Why you? What? Come get me, Bakugo said to her through his sweat. Katsuki! Stop! Kirishima cried out. Toga hesitated, but soon threw Midoriya down. She launched at him, but they didn't expect her to be so quick. None of them could keep up with her. But Bakugo trusted them and Midoriya that they could stop her. He could barely move, and it was risky to use his quirk, especially with everyone there with him. Midoriya suddenly got up to see Toga trying to grab onto Bakugo. She was mere inches away from grabbing onto him. "No! Kaken!" Midoriya cried out. Before he knew it, Midoriya had grabbed onto Toga. She never expected it as he suddenly had a pinned down onto the floor. Midoriya's quirk was activating with his eyes staring daggers at Toga. He gritted his teeth in anger, knowing that Bakugo put himself in front of her as bait. Midoriya looked up at Bakugo, not happy about this. "Kaken! You can't use yourself as bait!" Midoriya cried out. "That's too risky with her quirk around." "Hey! You got her, didn't you?" Bakugo pointed out. Midoriya held her down, feeling the need to tighten his grip onto her. He couldn't risk her being anywhere near Bakugo. Toga just laid there as if she were defeated. Something about it seemed off to him, feeling like there was something going on. She seemed to be planning something as she laid there. "Izuku, you and Achiko are so close." Toga said to him, I don't understand why I can't have that too. Why can you two be together, and I can't be any of you?" Midoriya felt that as he hesitated to answer her. She clearly had been through a lot, and he felt bad for her. Midoriya still wanted to help her as he held her down. He tightened his grip around her arms, trying to think of what to tell her. "It's complicated, but..." Midoriya said to her, "You really do care about others. But you help with your quirk." "Clearly care, but your quirk gets in the way of that. You're confused. Let us help you." Toga didn't say anything as Mr. Aizawa came over to him. That seemed to get her attention, knowing that they would take her away. Midoriya suddenly heard trying to get away from him. "We need to get her away from Bakugo," Mr. Aizawa told him. "I know you want to help, but we need to get her away from the dormitory first before we make any decisions." Midoriya understood, and Toga tried to get away from him. He tightened his grip onto her as he got off of her. Mr. Aizawa soon wrapped her around with his scarf as he kept her away from him. Toga didn't fight back that much as she stared at Midoriya. She seemed somewhat interested in what he had to say about her quirk. Something her eyes looked less lost and more curious. Before she could say anything to him, some other classmates came running down the elevator. Her eyes widened, seeing Uraraka standing there with Midoriya. The way she looked at Midoriya made her feel envious. She wanted that more than anything else in the world. To have someone close like that. To be with them without any problems. They loved each other. "Izuku," Toga said to him, catching his attention, "Maybe. You're right. If I stay, will you come over to help me?" Midoriya's eyes widened in shock, staring at Toga with hope in his eyes. He didn't hesitate as his classmates were worried about him. "I'll help you out of this," Midoriya said to her. Toga looked at Uraraka and Midoriya as Mr. Aizawa tugged her away from the dormitory. She didn't hesitate to leave and soon smiled at them both. It looked genuine as Midoriya and Uraraka watched her leave. Her eyes teared up, which caught Uraraka's attention. It was just like when she left the winter dance, but she seemed happy this time around. "Thank you." In Class 2A's dormitory, Uraraka wasn't expecting to see Toga in their dormitory. She was worried about Midoriya and Bakugo, knowing that she went after them both. She noticed Bakugo's neck being patched up by Ms. Midoriya. She knew that Toga got him, which gave her chills. Something about Toga being in their dormitory seemed like something that happened more often. Class 2A went about helping Bakugo as they tried to check on his fever. He was sweating a lot as Kirishima made sure he was okay. She then noticed that Midoriya was staring out the window. He seemed to be a bit distant, trying to figure this out. She felt bad for him that he was going through this as Bakugo's fever was bothering him. She walked over to him, knowing that he needed her. "Are you okay, Izuku?" Uraraka asked him with concerned eyes. For a moment, Midoriya didn't say anything. He stared at his hands, but then automatically felt his neck as if Toga were still here. "Achiko, do you think Toga will actually change?" Midoriya asked her. Her quirk is strong and a bit different, but She definitely has potential to be better than this. Uraraka didn't reply right away, trying to figure out what Midoriya was up to. Clearly he wanted to do something about this. Toga needs help Izuku, Uraraka said to him, you know that. You may understand her, but she needs time. Midoriya looked at Uraraka, knowing that he wasn't going anywhere. He just needed to talk to her about this since it was clearly bothering him for a while. Ever since the sports festival, he had clearly been wondering about what could have been for Toga. Even that fight with Akuma was a bit much for him. It reminded him of Toga in so many ways. Uraraka soon held his hand, feeling the need to support him. I know you want to help so many people, but Uraraka told him, Bakugo needs you. More than ever right now. You can't be worrying about Toga when Bakugo still has a fever. Midoriya looked at her and then Bakugo. He was trying to let Yaoyorozu check his neck in fever. He was sweating a lot, and Midoriya nodded at Uraraka with a smile. You're right, Midoriya said to her. Midoriya soon walked over to Bakugo, noticing him looking a bit dizzy. Ms. Midoriya was still done patching up his neck. He looked even more out of it since Toga drank some of his blood. Midoriya and Uraraka were worried about him as he looked up to see them. Izuku. That is. Right. Bakugo pointed out. Katsuki. Stay still so I can help you, Ms. Midoriya said back. Uraraka was confused by Bakugo's question, and then noticed Midoriya looking at her in an embarrassed way. Even Ms. Midoriya felt a bit embarrassed for her, confused as to who Toga was. His face even heated up, which confused everyone even more. What is with you? Kaminari asked him. Did Toga look like Uraraka or something? Uraraka's eyes widened in shock, remembering that she had a bit of her blood. Her head whipped over at him with a blushing face. He could barely look at her. He soon looked at Bakugo and then Uraraka with a flustered face. Ms. Midoriya was finally done with patching up Bakugo's neck, but felt awkward about their conversation. Kakakin? Please don't. Tell me that you remembered what happened. Midoriya asked him. Bakugo looked at him as he blinked his eyes in confusion. Then his eyes widened in shock as he whipped his head at Uraraka. She was so confused as to why he was looking at her eyes like that. His face even turned red as he instinctively moved away from her. Uraraka didn't like the look he was giving her. Bakugo, why are you staring at me like that? Uraraka asked him. He could barely even say anything as everyone stared at him. His fever wasn't helping feel any better. So, that wasn't you? Bakugo asked, clearly out of it. What are you talking about? Of course not. It was Toga, Uraraka said to him. Izuku, what's going on? Midoriya's eyes widened in shock as his face turned red. Uraraka then soon realized what was going on, and her face turned bright red. Toga. Looked like me? Uraraka cried out. Izuku, you didn't actually think that. It was me for a moment, did you? No. Midoriya said to her with his hands up in defense. Maybe for a split second, but only because she looked like you. I thought that. Why you? Uraraka's eyes noticed him looking at Bakugo, which only made her eyes widen even more. Izuku, I would never. Uraraka cried out with a blushing face. Why you know that? Especially with. Uraraka trailed off, unable to say it out loud. She noticed Bakugo looking away from her with a red face. For a moment, she could barely look at Midoriya. She couldn't even believe that she was even having this conversation with Midoriya. She would never cheat on him, especially with his childhood friend. I need some air, Uraraka said to him under her breath. Before any of them could stop her, she walked out of the dormitory. She felt the cold breeze with a slight warmth to it. Uraraka looked up at the moon and stars, feeling so conflicted about this. She felt like she needed to step away from Midoriya for a moment. She knew that this was going to be a long day.